Cheers, boyos.
Cheers, boys. Hello and welcome to On the Esky. Most of the boys are back this week. I've got Peppy and Monkey on my left. No Macca today.
Parent-teacher interviews.
Congratulations.
Parent or teacher?
Bit of both.
Yeah. Teacher in this game.
The blind leading the blind.
Congratulations to Peppy's in order. He got married on the weekend, joined the club.
Congratulations.
Where's your ring, bro?
It's over there somewhere. Welcome to the club. Join us, join me and the other one in the end, desperately trying to avoid it.
I wouldn't say desperately, but
Very desperately. Very desperately.
Probably on the horizon, let's be honest.
let's be honest.
So, On the Esky is the sports podcast. We've got a massive show planned, a lot of cricket. Heaps of cricket. There's Australia versus New Zealand, the T20. There's the IPL Auction. There's England and India in their series. Of course, more Shield cricket. Then we're 2 weeks out from the NRL kickoff. There's 4 weeks left from the AFL kickoff. Then we've got the All-Star game coming up in the NBA, and the teams have just been announced. Mm-hmm. There's Champions League round of 16 continuing as well. The Aussie Open finished up last week, and more golf.
Yep.
More golf tournaments. But I think
plus some assorted sports thrown in there.
Yeah, so I think some of the things we're going to look at cricket-wise is we definitely want to see who the winners and losers were throughout the IPL auction. We're going to have a look at the South African cricket team and would they be the best cricketing nation if they retained all their players? They didn't bugger off and go elsewhere. Is Aaron Finch in danger of losing his spot in the T20 team? If you're in my camp, it's a definite yes.
We'll get to that.
Plus the weekly roundup of, like Pepe said, everything else, all the other sports going on around the world that we like to follow and like to talk about. So I think the main story, the main series going on at the moment is the cricket, as we're just into India versus England day 2, and Root has just got his second wicket.
Yeah, he's two for none from two
overs. Yeah. India are currently 125 for 7 if you want to sync up. That's where we are roughly to start this podcast.
So we're about an hour into the first session of day 2. The start of the session, India right on top. They were about 3 for 99 chasing England's 112 they made. So they do have a lead here, but England's really pinning this back. It's looking like a better and better game as each minute goes on. Yeah,
we're worried that India could have put 300 on them here, taking a nice commanding lead going.
Yeah, well, it looked like it at the start of the day's play.
But, Sharma looked like he was in good nick, but obviously day 2, the restart of day 2 has changed everything. I think the English team, they brought more on the spinners in. I think it was Anderson and Broad bowled a lot yesterday. Getting Lynch and Root involved.
Leach and Joe Root's looking the goods here at the moment.
Do you want to run us through what happened yesterday? Yeah,
so let's go back to before the start of play. I think one of the interesting things to note is we're watching cricket in the world's biggest cricket stadium.
Oh, it's a lovely stadium too.
Yeah, it's been renovated, knocked down actually completely and rebuilt from the ground up. For the last 5 years. I think the last international cricket here in Ahmedabad was in 2014 or 15. This reconstructed stadium now seats 110,000, making it the biggest cricket venue in the world, superseding the MCG. Yep. It's been renamed the Narendra Modi Stadium after the current Indian Prime Minister, previously the Sardar Patel Stadium. I was wondering what the Indians would think. I'd love for anyone to get us in the comments if you do like a Prime Minister getting, the name of a cricket ground named after him whilst he's in office, quite unusual, I would have thought.
Did you see the start of this match? He was on the sidelines, came down the sidelines, and they walked him through and showed all the teams greeted him. Coley was the master of ceremonies, just showing around introducing the team.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. He had his full entourage with him on the side of the pitch.
So they had the most popular man in India and the Prime Minister.
Yep. By far.
Put it into context like this. Imagine if a stadium was opened here and they called it the Scott Morrison Stadium.
The ScoMo.
There'd be a bit of an uproar, you'd think.
Oh, you never know. The Sharkies in the Shire. There's a new name for you.
Maybe. ScoMo, if you're listening. Maybe we go for former Prime Ministers, big Malcolm Turnbull.
Oh, well, Bob Hawke's Stadium, though.
That'll go down well. That
would go down well.
Yeah,
well, Hawthorn being the Hawks team, like...
For Bob Hawks, you reckon?
Well, the Hawks playing at Bob Hawke, so...
There, this is
Anyway, back to Indian cricket.
Anyways, it's the biggest cricket biggest cricket ground in the world now, 110,000, 50% seating capacity for this game. So there's about 55,000 in there. And boy, you could hear them yesterday.
They're very vocal.
Very unreal, really. England wins the toss. They elect to bat. The ball was doing a little bit early on. It is a pink ball test. It's a day-nighter, hence the late start for us here. It's 9 p.m. In Canberra. It's only the day's play only just underway in Ahmedabad. That ball was hooping. Sharma and Bumrah had it moving in all directions, and the pitch was a lot was staying low. There was a few that would double or triple bouncing through to Rishabh Pant behind the stumps there. Dom Sibley, unfortunately, he schnicked up to Ishant Sharma in the third over. Ishant playing his 100th test. If you wouldn't mind just having a look at his numbers there for us, monks. And then after that sort of first 6-7 overs where the ball was hooping around, it just started looking like Chennai. And I think the same as they bowled 11 overs total, and it was all Akshar Patel and Ravi Ashwin. And as I speak, Joe Root has gone to 3 for none.
Wow.
So we covered the Indian collapse when they made 36 live on the Esky a few months ago. We're seeing another one happen here. Obviously, they're on 125, a little bit different, but interesting to see it happen live on air. So the spinners, Akshar Patel, he had an absolute day. He trapped Bairstow. Did anyone see the Bairstow review?
Oh, the greatest. It's a Shane Watson review, that one.
I think even Shane Watson would have walked on that. That was horrendous.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he thought maybe I'd hit the ball, but he hit the inside of his pads, or he thought
that's exactly
maybe
what
it had
happened.
more bounce and was going over the stumps. But
that's right,
first look at the replay, it was like, I'm out.
That's plum.
That's very plum.
Yeah, I think he thought he might have hit the ball. It obviously caught the corner of his pad there. Have you got Ishant Sharma's numbers there after 100 tests? He must have 300 odd test wickets.
Yes, if not more.
I've got it right in front of me and I can't find it. 302.
302.
Although this is off 99.
So the last games it doesn't include the one that he got yesterday.
Yep.
So in that 300 club, it's pretty exclusive club. And I didn't actually obviously he's been around a long time. I didn't realise he'd actually played that many tests. So shout out to Ishant Sharma. They sometimes call him the Indian Peps, big long wrong dog rolling in. Wish I could bowl as well as he does. But
he part of that Prime Minister presentation yesterday, he did get a cap. Well, the Indian equivalent of the baggy green.
Oh yeah.
Don't know.
Well, that's something for us to get at. Or what do you call the Indian Test cap? If anyone wants to let us know in the comments.
But got that in a nice case, and he got something else. I just can't remember the top end. But both presented to him by the Prime Minister, which I would guess it would be a very special moment for him.
Yeah, for sure.
To have be that 100 tests get presented with those items for him.
So debuted for India when he was 18 years old.
Yeah, against Australia, I feel like it might have been.
It was against Bangladesh.
But I remember him playing against us as a 19-year-old or something.
Very young.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, so when was that? It must have been
2007.
Yeah, there you go. Ishant Sharma put together quite a test career. So at that stage, after the Bairstow garbage review, they were about 2 for 27. Zach Crawley and Joe Root, they tried to steady the ship. They put on about 47 before Root got trapped by Ashwin. Crawley departed not long after that. He was trapped by Akshar Patel for 53.
It was a good quick knock for him.
Yeah,
so back in the side, he was the only one that looked kind of comfortable in the start of this.
Yeah, well, you take away his 53 and England's doozied there for 60, aren't they?
Yes.
So, really good, important knock there from Zach Crawley. So they were 3 for 80 before he departed, and then they ended up losing 7 for 32. So a massive, massive collapse there. Did you say that Ashram ball that got Ollie Pope?
Oh, maybe.
So he was bowling. He was bowling his offies around the wicket, and most of them jarring back in to the right hander, and then he just got one just to straighten up a little bit, and just took the top of his off bail, and it was a really nice seed, that one.
Actually, I think I did see this.
Yeah. And then Stokes went to a sort of the ball stayed a little bit low from Patel, and that just ensured that England would be done cheaply. They managed 112. I think the only point I would like to make from the end of that innings was that Stuart Broad dismissal, given the situations. Did you see that? He went to sweep the ball and just put it straight down deep square leg's throat.
He did, yeah.
Broad's reasonably handy with the bat. He could have hung around a little bit longer. I suppose, he's not there to score runs, so maybe that was going through his head, but it seemed like a little bit of a silly dismissal to me at the test level. And Akshar Patel in his second test finished up with 6 for 38. It's pretty unreal. And Ravi Ashwin chipped in with 3 for 26 himself.
Definitely getting a turn, Patel.
Yeah,
that's good. But
the thing was,
we'll talk about the pitch in a second.
Yeah, well, they're getting it turning, but then the wickets came off balls that they were straightening up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then sometimes when you're playing, you got to play for the turn, and it's some of those ones that straighten can get you when you're playing for the spin.
Yep.
But yeah, a few landmines out there for a day one.
So
wicket, that's for sure.
Was Archer third or fourth highest run scorer for England?
You got it there.
Crawley was 1, Root was 2.
So Crawley got 57, Root got 17.
53 wasn't it for Crawley?
Sorry, yeah. Folks got 12, and then Archer got 11.
Yeah. So it doesn't
Dismal.
help. It doesn't help when you're over there in your number 3. Not much from the English middle order. Something I was saying to you boys during the week. Obviously, we've seen Joe Root, being in absolutely phenomenal form over the last sort of 12 months in the Test arena. It seems to me if he doesn't make runs, England can be a little bit susceptible. And then on top of that, if he doesn't make runs and Stokes doesn't make runs, that top 3 just, I don't know, they don't really look like a world-class top 3. I think they're all averaging in the mid-30s. I know Bairstow averages about 35.
Yeah, well, it was Bairstow's first match back, and same for Crawley. So they had a new opening partnership, and Crawley looked like he pretty solid. There was a good ad of 50.
Yeah.
Bairstow, still he still looks like he maybe a bit out of sorts.
Well, he doesn't look like a number 3.
No.
He doesn't look like a number 3, and we've spoken about it before on the Esky. When you go back 5 to 15 years in English cricket, where it was Alastair Cook and Andrew Strauss and Trescothick before him, it was just pick and stick. Your openers or your top 3 just sort of pick themselves. And the last 5 or so years since the retirement of Cook, I think it's been less than that, maybe 3 years since Alastair Cook retired, just been an absolute carousel in the top 3 of the English batting order. Middle order sort of pick, with Stokes and Root, they sort of pick themselves, whoever bats 5. Or 6 has to be considered.
That's what we're talking about. Like for them, the world-class bats, like their top batsmen compared to the others around the world is like Root's 1, and then Stokes is a solid maybe. Like he's probably pretty close to that. But
yeah. And then outside of that, no one's really world-class, are they?
No.
And it showed. It really did show yesterday. So India, they finished stumps day 1, 3 for 99. Shubman Gill was the first to go. He towed a pull shot off Jofra, and Jofra Archer, with that short run up and that bounce that he gets, he gets a lot of wickets like that, where the ball just gets onto the bat a little bit quicker than the batsman's suspecting. The brick wall Pujara, he got trapped by Jack Leach, and then Kohli was speaking about it last week. He continues his 100 drought. Yeah, he was looking okay before he chopped on off Leach for 27. That must be 35 international innings now without 100. So I'm sure he doesn't feel any pressure. He's, as we said, one of the best cricketers of all time.
He's not in the same position Aaron Finch is.
And we shall get to Aaron Finch shortly. But obviously, Kohli would love a international ton. Yes. I'm sure we won't be waiting too much longer to see that. Just an interesting point there. Rohit Sharma, Mako, I hope you're listening. You were calling for his axing.
Yeah. Your favourite Indian cricket player?
Before the second test, he went out and made a good ton last test, and he was 57 not overnight, batting there with Rahane. Since then, a lot has happened. It's sort of all been unfolding.
5 since then.
Unfolding in front of us. Yeah, so they were 3 for 99. They're currently 8 for 126. Quick mass. That's 5 for 27 that they've lost since stumps yesterday. So England well and truly back into this game, and we've got a test on our hands, don't we?
Yeah, did Leach and Root open the bowling today?
No, Jimmy Anderson had
one?
Jimmy Anderson had it early, and we were just setting up, so we didn't have that. I imagine it was Anderson and Archer, but they've been
a few, but these two have been dominating.
Yeah, been going the last 6 or 7 overs since we've had it on. It's definitely been Jack Leach and Joe Root going at it, and you'd imagine the way that this deck's playing, they try and finish up the last 2 Indian wickets here.
Yeah, I'd say fairly quickly, and we'll have England back in for a bat on day 2 for the second innings already.
Yeah, and doesn't look like there's a cloud in the sky, so they'll probably get a result here after three days, you'd think.
So let's talk about the pitch, and then we'll go to the World Championship.
Mm-hmm. Can you bring up those World Championship, what needs to happen? I know we spoke about it last time. I would love a refresher on that.
Yeah,
got that right here.
Beautiful.
So what are your thoughts on the pitch, Baby?
Well, it looks horrendous, but sometimes you like to see that there's something there for the bowlers.
Well, if you enjoy spin bowling, then it's this pitch and last pitch have been excellent for that.
We were talking about the other week about how they obviously prepare the pitch for their own team's bowlers. So
you might upset a lot of people saying that, Monkey, but look, both teams have to bat on it, and the English spinners, even if it is Joe Root rolling his arm over, are benefiting from it.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad pitch. It's just that's how they've turned the pitch.
That's how they've.
But you look at both bowling ends and how quickly the dust was just kicking up and they just fell apart. You think you'd probably want that to hold. Maybe into day 2 or 3, not after 10 overs, it's kind of completely fallen apart. Where it's a very dusty track.
Well, look, we're not even into 4 sessions in this Test match, and there's 18 wickets taken. So, if this goes past day 3, it'll be a miracle.
Yeah, at this rate.
Yeah, and for the neutral viewer, you probably you just want to see more cricket, don't you? But. It is nice to see different conditions. It's not like the old Adelaide Ovals or...
it's not a fast, bouncy track as much.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of bounce and a little bit up and down.
Well, you remember
heavy spin.
Remember growing up watching Aussie Summers, and whoever won the toss would go out and bat in Brisbane or Adelaide and score 500 and bat for 2 days. And it's just a very different form of Test cricket, and that's why we love... the Test format.
Yeah, that's why we travel.
Probably the most because there is these little intricacies between the wickets, and the way that the Test match unfolds is completely different. Due to the state of the pitch.
Yep.
You do think on day 1 it is a little bit much. That's my personal opinion. I'd like to see the batsmen have a little bit more hope.
I would have liked to see the pitch on day 1 be a bit harder, so it stays together, and then
and just a little bit,
then start breaking away.
Just a little bit more consistent as well. You saw when Sharma and Bumrah had that new pink ball yesterday, and the inconsistency in the bounce. Some were going up to Pant's throat, and then others that had pitched in the exact same spot were double bouncing, dribbling through to him. That's pretty hard to bat on as an opener, and it's the first 10 overs of a Test match.
Yeah. So I get my final question was going to be the English side, because they've got one specialist spinner, and then we've got Root throwing down his half trackers. Doesn't
matter, obviously. Root's 3 for 4 in his fourth over.
We know Harley couldn't be in the team because he's gone home for 2 weeks.
Dom Bess is the only other option, isn't
exactly. Why isn't Bess staying in the team? Why would you go with Broad, Archer, and Anderson?
I think maybe they were thinking pink ball,
swing a bit,
night time, might swing a bit more under the lights, and the ball was hooping. To start off both of these innings, that's probably the thinking there. And then they haven't made the wrong decision. They've got India 8 for 130 here. They should have them cleaned up, for less than 150. Excuse me.
Ashwin's going to hit another ton here.
I'm sure the Indian fans would love it. Really nice knock last Test. But sometimes you can get away with your part-timers like a Joe Root. I know Michael Clark had a lot of success bowling in India. I'm sure if we maybe that can be a little bit of homework for us. If we go through some of the part-time spinners that have had really nice success in the subcontinent, sometimes you don't have to go that extra specialist spinner. And so far so good for the Poms. They should get out of this only 30 or 40 behind.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyways, I think that wraps up as much as we can talk about from what's happened. Obviously, this game's going to continue live during this podcast.
Yeah, in the background, and we'll update it throughout.
That's right. If there's any wickets or anything of note, we'll mention it, and will be something that we'll discuss on the next podcast in wrapping up the third test. The last thing is, I suppose, the implications for Australia. We did speak about it last time on the Esky. Essentially, we need like as an Aussie fan, a pretty close test match. Can you just run us through the results there and what happens there, Jim?
From memory. Yeah, from memory.
A trip down memory lane.
England needed to dominate.
Yes.
So I'll bring it up here.
Yeah, if they don't win this test, they got to win 3-1 from here. So they got to win this one and the next two.
No. So there's only 4 tests. So
they have to win this one.
England
and the
has to win. Both tests. So if they lose this, they're done. They're done. They can't play in the match at Lords in June.
Yep.
What does India need to do?
They need to win this one and then not lose.
Yes.
Yep.
So 2-1 or 3-1 gets India home. So at this stage, you'd say India are probably the favourites to be in this game against New Zealand.
Yes. Yeah.
And Australians need to be doing our rain dance. And because this game's not going to be a draw.
Not this way, no.
Unless there's some day after tomorrow type shit that rolls through Gujarat on the western side of India in the next few days. This game's not going to be a draw, and then it's going to come down to this fourth and final test. And
we'd really want England maybe to sneak this one somehow.
Yes,
because that then puts Australia very much in the box seat.
Yeah, that's right. But then if England win the next test, then
it's back to England, of course. Yeah.
Anyway, it's an interesting thing that the ICC has put forward this World Test Championship. It just adds that little bit extra to each test match, and we're on the edge of our seats watching a test, that's going through the middle of the night, our time, over in the subcontinent, and always been a cricket fan, but I think it's just added that little bit extra spice. Good on the ICC for making this a part of Test cricket.
Yeah, well, we as Australian fans are now engaged in this series. Besides the fact that this is actually a really interesting series, but we're engaged as well because we're like, hey, we still got skin in the game, really, in this. Yeah. Besides putting a bet on it, we still got skin in the game on this. That hey, we want each team to do well, like go 2-2. That'd be perfect. We'd like if England can sneak this one and there's no result in the next one. Then that also works in our favour because that's the options for us. So there's still 6 outcomes, 3 of which are in Australia's favour, but it needs a very close series. Yeah,
and the 3 that are in Australia's favour numerically are less statistical, less probable. So a 1-1, that's you can put a scratch through that. That's not happening.
That's gone.
That's not happening. And
then, not after this test. No.
And then unless there's some kind of inclement weather in the 4th test,
they get hurricanes in India.
I don't think they get hurricanes. They get monsoon.
We need a monsoon. That's what we need.
I imagine
it's
out
the wrong
of
time of
season.
year.
If any of our Indian fans want to let us know,
it's snowing in Texas. So.
how it works. I do know Ahmedabad is a little bit more inland, say, than Chennai. So I don't know if it's drier. I'm not a meteorologist here. I'm way too ugly to be presenting the weather, at least.
You got the legs for it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's a shame about everything else, but.
Nice and slender, no carbs.
The final point we wanted to make was good on the ICC for introducing this thing, this World Test Championship. At first, I thought it might be a little bit gimmicky, but
2 years in the making. We're now at the pointy end, so
here we are.
It's interesting.
We're staying up in the middle of our night down here to watch India and England, whereas back in before this was a thing, we might have just checked on our phones the result in the morning.
Yeah.
True that.
Staying in India, there's a little thing called the IPL that happens over there every April.
Yeah, it's only a small series.
Yeah,
small league. That makes about $5 billion a year.
Giggle. There's a few dollars that get chucked around.
Just a few.
Have a look at that aerial shot there of that stadium in Ahmedabad. It kind of looks like the G in the way it's been built.
Oh my fucking god! It's a excellently designed stadium,
and I think they put it up in about 4 years. So good work over there. IPL auction. The first thing I noticed, the difference in the contracts, the difference in the paydays is unbelievable. There's guys that and the examples I use don't get your knickers in a knot, because obviously these guys are worth a lot of money. But I'm just going to compare them to other guys that get paid a whole lot less and possibly deserve a similar amount of money. The first thing I noticed, Rohit Sharma's current contract, he's on $2.1 million US. All right. I'm not questioning Rohit Sharma's ability in short form cricket. One of the best going around and one of the most accomplished ODI players of all time.
Definitely.
Stellar IPL career. 2.1 million a year for him. Then you get a guy like Chris Lynn, who has been the most dominant guy in the Big Bash over the last 10 years. Hasn't quite had the same success in India in the IPL.
Wasn't the best Big Bash season for him this year either.
This year, no,
and last year I think he was hurt a little bit
and prone to injury. He's had his shoulders problems.
But I still get your point. Like
he's on 280,
he's the big show.
280,000. So that's eight times less than what Rohit Sharma gets. And we've just had another wicket. You're joking. It's Joe Root has 4 for fuck all.
Yeah. Ashwin skied this one straight up.
Was it a sweep? We'll run you.
4 for 5.
Joe Root is 4 for 5.
He might
Joe
get
Root
5
might get a Michelle Pfeiffer here.
Yeah, 5 for 5 from 5.
Unbelievable scenes. Bowling around the wicket. Ashwin's gone to sweep him, top edge.
Not getting a huge amount of time.
So this is a very similar dismissal to Stuart Broad the other day in the same position. Yeah, 8 for 100.
Yeah, why are you trying to hit this over the fence?
Yeah, I'll just try and grind it out a little bit, but maybe that.
Do you know what it is? He's a tail end batter.
Yeah, runs, need runs.
Yeah, I'm trying to get me 100.
Maybe. Yeah, just for me, as
don't throw your wicket away. Yeah,
someone with no talent and no concentration at any crease that I've ever been at.
Yeah, play the percentages, play the safe game.
Indeed,
especially in Test cricket, tick the runs over.
Yeah, it just seems like a little bit of a silly dismissal.
Yeah.
Very strangely reminiscent of Stuart Broad yesterday.
Yeah. Coming back to the IPL, so in the comparison, because you'll get to Cummins and Hazelwood in a second. One of the things to remember though is there's 25 players on a squad and 8 of them are overseas players. So there is a limit, of course. So for that matter, they will favour locals, of course. For that's how they build their teams and they build the franchise faces, the players they want to build, say the club around, so that fans can get behind it, buy jerseys, buy all the merchandise, etc.
And probably better for the fans. We've got Dhoni, we've got Sharma, we've got Virat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then bringing the overseas guy in it's maybe not you're not trying to bring Steve Smith in to say he's the face of the franchise kind of thing. It is a little bit mercenary for these guys where they're just, hey, they're role players essentially. We need you to come in and play a role. Great thing for India is they are stacked with batsmen and spinners at the moment.
Top order and spinners.
So that's why someone like Chris Lynn misses out, because it's like, well, hey, we're probably going to go with 4 Indian batters at the top, but we need some reserves in case these guys get hurt or it's a long season, they need some rest. So yeah, hey, Chris Lynn as a reserve is a great reserve, and he's cheap. Handy. So
yeah. But then there's this next comparison, I suppose, counters that argument in the fact that we've got 2 guys here that are Australian stalwarts.
I would say there is a slight difference in, one's the premier player and the other one's pretty close, but I'd say he's a step down.
Okay. Pat Cummins, 2.2 million US. Yep. Josh Hazelwood, 280,000 US. Cummins getting 8 times more than Hazelwood. Agreed. Cummins is the better cricketer, probably in all formats at this stage.
Yep.
No hate against Josh Hazelwood there. Excellent bowler. Looking at that, I think that's fucking crazy that Cummins is getting 8 times more than Josh Hazelwood. It's just the craziness of the IPL contracts and how they work, and it's something that's I've really started to notice over the last few series is the discrepancy in what guys are getting paid. But yeah, it's an industry, it's a business, it's a market, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. If you compare it to say the NBA or the NFL, there's plenty of guys there that are getting 8 or 10 times what other guys are getting, or if not more.
True. There's always your journeymen who are there, the role players, they do some stuff, and then you've got your guys making max contracts. That's all that happens across the sport.
I suppose the difference is, a franchise quarterback compared to 50 fifth string cornerback. The value to the team, you probably should be getting 10 or more times than the other guy.
We're talking about, say, shouldn't be crossing sports, but we're talking about like Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. Mahomes is getting 100 mil and Rodgers is getting 100,000. Like
that's a similar, or 100 mil. That's 8 times more. So let's.
I've extracted. You know, I've gone way off the range, but that's
similar.
Like, hey, there's similar talents.
Yeah, obviously at the moment you'd rather
blah.
Mahomes than Rodgers. Rodgers did just win the MVP, but Mahomes younger. You know, you slightly want to pay Mahomes a bit more. It's pretty crazy that there's this discrepancy in the contracts. Don't want to dwell on it too long. Just an interesting thing.
We're bringing NFL into cricket chat. Let's keep going.
We love doing that here on the Esky. You're wearing a bloody Denver Broncos.
Represent.
You got the Bucks hat going. The season's finished, but yeah, we love both sports, and why can't we compare them?
I do want to mention that Cummins and Hazelwood have both been retained by their respective teams.
Yeah, so these are old contracts. Yeah, they're not new from this auction.
Yeah, so based on probably a couple of years.
Yeah, that's
past.
It's just something that really caught my eye when I was looking at some of these numbers.
I think Steve Smith's probably the good example of this, of a guy that's had a significant haircut with what he got last year in the auction to what he's getting this year. But from what I understand, I actually love the auction and how they do this in the IPL. This is a really interesting way to set up a season going into it. From what I understand, is all-rounders and quicks were what teams were preferring to get, because like I said, they had batters, they've got spin bowling, they've got great stocks in either one. You know, fast bowling in India is not developing, but it's specialist. They've got a few good guys, but they don't have a huge amount of stocks like they would compared to, say, Australia, which just churns out fast bowls left and right. Of course, Jai Richardson, as an example, being one of the lucky guys to get a massive deal out of this.
Yeah. Well, let's look at some of those quicks.
Yeah,
so obviously, Chris Morris, he got the biggest IPL contract in this auction. With Rajasthan Royals. Something that's been really troubling me this week is trying to convert crores to US dollars. 16.25 crores. It's about 2.25 million US dollars.
Yep.
Eclipses Yuvraj Singh's 2015 contract. Here goes number one. He's an all-rounder, as we were speaking about. All-rounders and quicks favoured for the teams, and top orders, batsmen and specialist spinners, they look for the local talent.
Yep.
Big Kyle Jamieson, 6'8", fast bowler, Kiwi. He goes for $2 million US dollars. He's 26. He's only got 5 2020s under his belt. He goes to Royal Challengers Bangalore. He's the second highest paid guy in this auction, pretty much unproven in any big competitions. Has some excellent Plunket Shield form. That's a massive gamble there by Royal Challengers Bangalore. But it's interesting to see if that pays off.
Is he playing for New Zealand at the moment?
Yeah, he's played in these last 2 Test matches. Didn't do much, I don't think. If you don't mind having a look at Kyle Jamieson there for us, Jim. Third guy, he's got a bit of a reputation. Glenn Maxwell, the big show. He pockets a cool 1.95 US dollars. He also goes to Royal Challengers Bangalore. Again, all-rounder, big hitting all-rounder. Bowls off spin, but not a specialist spinner. Then there's some young Aussie quicks getting absolutely paid. So Jai Richardson, he goes fourth in the auction in terms of value. 1.9 US dollars to Punjab Kings. He's only 24. Let that sink in. He's killing it for a 24-year-old, especially for a guy who's 5'11", slight, doesn't have that traditional quick build. He was a leading wicket taker in Big Bash 10. He had 29 poles at 16.
Yeah, got spanked a little bit today, but we'll get to that.
And they always do.
They do.
Yes.
You have your ups and downs.
Indeed. And then Riley Meredith, who's never played for Australia. He's in this T20 squad that's over in New Zealand, but he's never had a cap. He picks up $1 million with the Punjab Kings, and his big bash wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. He had 16 wickets, averaged 24, went for 7.8 and over. That's nothing that you really write home about. So obviously, these IPL franchises are willing to throw a bit of money at these foreign quicks and hoping that they can get the job done for them. And good on them. 24-year-old making $1 million in cricket. It's something that's was unheard of 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, think about it as well. Probably going through the list at that point, they've probably gone. Well, Jai Richardson's gone, Cummins has gone, Hazelwood's gone. Yeah, as contracts, they're working through the list and go, "Oh, I want an Australian quick in my side."
Yes.
So supply and demand at that point. So
yes and no. Like Nathan Coulter-Nile, he picked up a good contract, but then I'm scrolling down here to try and find some of the next foreign quicks, and I'm going. All right, we've got Ben Cutting.
That's my point. But at that point,
he's an all-rounder.
All the fast quicks were gone. So they're trying when they're trying to auction for Riley, that they've gone, hey, he's probably the last top guy available. Well, a guy that's had big bash experience, good numbers, not great numbers. And they compete because it is an auction. They're competing for him. So again, great for Riley. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, and that's why we've got him in our winners conversation. So our winners in this, we're looking at it as players rather than teams, franchises. Obviously, Chris Morris, Cole Jamieson, shout out to him. Glenn Maxwell's obviously worth a fair bit as it is.
Yep.
Still $2 million and not going to sneeze at it. And then big winners, Jai Richardson and Riley Meredith. Congrats, young blokes, getting paid. Hopefully, you guys have great series. The thing that I wanted to say, compare Riley Meredith's contract here for $1 million. Guy like Andrew Ty, he's already at the Rajasthan Royals. Mm-hmm. He's on 1 crore, which is 140,000 US. So again, Riley Meredith's getting 8 times more than Andrew Ty, who's been proven for Australia, a little bit older, but has that wealth of experience. It's just funny how the money gets thrown around. Riley Meredith, 1 million. Josh Hazelwood, 280,000. He's getting nearly 4 times more than one of the best fast bowlers Australia's seen in the last 10 years. It's just interesting how the money gets thrown around. But hats off to them. Young blokes getting their clams, and hopefully they have a good series.
Yeah, I'm getting excited for it. So IPL starts
April. Can we get a start?
Yeah, it's April. We talked about it. I think pretty sure it's in April. Yeah. Losers. So we mentioned Steve Smith.
Yes. So his Rajasthan Royals contract was relinquished, or however it works. They released him, and he took a big pay cut. He's getting $310,000 US to go to the Delhi Capitals. That's less than Dan Christian, Moises Enriquez.
I think
again they're both all rounders. So
there was also a bit of strategy, I think, with Steve Smith that I can't remember which club it was, but one of them put on a small bid, knowing that they're trying to get a team to outbid them, because then that would then take them out of the running with money wise what they had left to spend at the auction to go after someone like Maxwell, so that they and then. I can't remember which club it was, but they were outbidded by the Capitals, took Smith, which then, takes them out of the running because they didn't have as much money left to take Maxwell. So it was interesting, some of the strategy the different teams were making with, placing bids and trying, not boosting numbers, but trying to force teams to pick guys up, which would then make it easier for them to then pick up other guys they were targeting in the auction to get. So that was interesting.
Different strategies between different franchises.
Yeah.
The other loser, one of 2 English losers I had out of this, was David Malan. He got $200,000 with the Punjab Kings. Again, I wouldn't mind $200,000 to play cricket, but a guy of his nature, he's had 19 2020s for England.
Yep.
He averages 53 in 2020s. Like he is an outstanding 2020 batsman. Been around the IPL before and all. Of the other various 2020 competitions. I think that's an absolute bargain for him. And the other Pom that went pretty cheap, Liam Livingston, we were speaking about him a few weeks ago. He obviously had a lot of success with the Perth Scorchers. This big bash, 110,000 from Rajasthan Royals. So he's getting
how long's the season?
20 times less than some of the guys.
How long's the season?
It normally goes for about 10 weeks.
10 weeks. 110K. Would you turn that down?
Oh, you're not going to turn it down. But I'm saying, if you're nearly as good as the bloke batting in front of you or you're batting with, and he's getting 10 times more, 20 times more, you start thinking, this is a bit funny how this works. But I guess it's the business of sport and the business of cricket and the business of 2020. And our parents would just be going, that's unbelievable money. How could anyone be saying 110 grand to play cricket in 2 months is a loser. But
yeah, true.
yeah, it's just very fascinating to see the way the money gets split. Last point, I think, from this, and we've already touched on it, there was not one single pure spinner, all-rounders out of it. I'm talking about pure spinners, guys that bat 8, 9, 10, 11, taken in this auction. They took a few Indians, but no overseas spinner went in this auction. Unbelievable testament to the depth that India has in their spinners.
Agreed.
We've seen it, obviously, in the test team. They can throw Akshar Patel in. They can throw Kuldeep Yadav in. They can throw Washington Sundar in. They've just got spinners galore. And as we also mentioned, their top order batting depth is very, very good.
Yeah, they've got good stocks over there in those guys.
Moving on. Outside of India, back down into the southern hemisphere. Little
T20.
Yeah, T20 series, 5-game series over there in New Zealand, between Australia and New Zealand. Australia's ranked 2 and New Zealand's ranked 6th. Oh, as Jack Leach nearly gets the 5 for it. It's Leach and Root going for this last wicket here with Bumrah and Ishant at the crease. I don't know how these rankings work from the ICC. If anyone can explain them to me, I'd love to know about it. I don't think it's a fair reflection that Australia being 2 and New Zealand being 6.
I'd say it's because Australia's probably played more T20 internationals recently than New Zealand has. Yeah, they shouldn't they just do like off the last 10 games or the last 15 games? Like, who cares about the time period? Well, I think you probably alluded to it. It's of the last, say, 12 months, they go, well, they've played this and they've won and who their competition is, blah, 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 etc., to work out how it all fits together. But
very reminiscent of FIFA rankings. I think, sometimes you see, Australia's playing this team that's ranked 30, they probably stink, and then they go out and get bloody demolished by some European team that
it's usually an Eastern European team.
Yeah, that just plays
still good.
That just plays harder opposition. So no idea how these rankings work. The teams for this first game will quickly run through both sides. Matt Wade, Aaron Finch, captain. Josh Phillippe makes his debut after a stellar Big Bash. Mitch Marsh, Glenn Maxwell, Marcus Stoinis, Ashton Agar, Daniel Sims, the Richardsons, Jai and Kame, and Adam Zampar. I think I just did a little bit of digging on the Esky archive from a few weeks ago. We saw that squad. We tried to name the team. We got 9 out of 11.
It's not bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
We did forget about the 2020 player of last year, Ashton Agar.
Yes, I did see this. I was like, oh yeah, Agar's in this team.
Yeah, we had maybe Andrew Ty ahead of him, maybe Riley Meredith, who just got paid in the Big Bash.
Where they're playing Aston more as for his batting prowess as well versus someone like Andrew Ty, who probably competes with the Richardsons for that.
Indeed, yeah. Ty's going to be batting 10 or 11, where Ashton can bat 7 or 8. And we also thought Ben McDermott might get a start. This was arming and ahhing anyway, because I had Mitch Marsh possibly in there. So we're bloody close. So we've done well. Maybe the selectors have been listening to the podcast. Shout out to
They
you
need
guys.
some help.
They went close today. We'll get to that in a second. New Zealand went Martin Guptill, Tim Seifert, Kane Williamson, Devon Conway and Glenn Phillips, James Neesham, Mitchell Santner, Kyle Jamieson, who just got that big IPL contract, Tim Southey, Ish Sodhi, Trent Bolt. The New Zealand side, Ross Taylor misses out. He's getting a little bit old. I think he doesn't strike the ball as well and score as quickly as he used to. I'd be surprised if he plays 2020 cricket again. India are all done. Perhaps there's a review.
It looks pretty plum. It's just whether he's nicked it first.
Yeah,
this is Bumrah facing
Leach. So Leach going for the 5 we'll have a look at that in a second.
We want Joe Reid to get a 5.
Yeah, I would love to see Joe Reid get a 5. Ross Taylor, I think maybe 2020 career over. Yes. Colin Munro, I was thinking, why the hell is he not playing? Is he injured? He's over in Pakistan. He's about to play in the PSL. Oh, and he's hit it. He's hit it.
Lot of bat.
Yeah, so this game will continue. Joe Root could get that Michelle Pfeiffer.
Man, how did he miss that one?
Yeah, I don't know. He smashed that like a big deviation as well. Boomer's done well to review that straight away. Obviously not out. That's where Colin Munro is, over in Pakistan, doing a bit of a West Indian cricketer, if you would, chasing that dough.
Yep.
You guys see the kit in the last 2 games? The New Zealand's wearing.
I just can't picture it.
It's It's like the
Like a golden
beige.
sort of,
yeah, it's like a throwback sort of.
Yeah, very classic.
Nearly like their 80s kit, sort of. And then with the black pants. And
Back in the days for the underarm.
yeah, around about those Trevor Chappell sort of days.
I wonder if that's it was like, fuck you, Australia.
I doubt it because we had been wearing that throwback one as well, and India's been wearing their throwback. So I think it's
Everyone loves the throwbacks, the classics.
That's right. Fashion goes around and around, doesn't it?
Yes.
Which is why it's bloody stupid. But,
We're not a fashion show, so we'll keep going.
oh yeah, well, look at us. If this is a fashion show,
What are you talking about?
Anyways,
I'll look all right from far away.
Very far away.
anyways, I digress. So that's the sides. Finchy wins the toss and elects to bowl at Hagley.
So we're talking game one.
Game one, that is. So a couple of days, Monday it was, at Hagley Oval there in Christchurch. Beautiful ground.
I think all the New Zealand grounds look
I like
picturesque, and
they look like a great, like a Sydney first grade ground. All of them pretty much, other than Auckland and Wellington.
Yeah. You expect to see some hobbits bouncing across.
Yeah, pretty much. But it does hold nearly 18,000 there. But it's nearly all it's all hill.
Yeah.
There's like a stand which holds maybe a couple thousand, and then the rest is just grass hill.
Nice.
And the bloke on the right on done it nice as well. Just cut like a nice little wagon wheel into it. And was getting the little bit of lawn porn juices going for me. Martin Guptill, he was in really bad form. He only had 150 from his previous 18 T20 internationals. Ooh. He got a duck slashing Daniel Sands to backward point. Averaging about 16 until something happened today. We'll get to that in a second.
We'll get to that.
Zampa comes in the second over. We're talking about leggies in T20s and how good they can be. Only goes for 2. Mm-hmm. And then Jai Richardson bowls this beautiful in-swinging Yorker to get Tim Seifert. New Zealand were 3 for 19, I believe, at that stage. Enter Devon Conway, and it wasn't many roses left. So he's only in his 7th 2020 for New Zealand. He's one of these guys that's South African born and raised. He started playing in New Zealand in 2018. So he's not like Marnus, where he left as a youngster.
Grew up.
He's South African. Yes. And you listen to him talk in the post-match, and he's just got that thick sort of South African accent.
Kevin Peterson.
Yeah, Peterson-esque. and we will get to that in a second about how good South Africa possibly could be if they were able to retain their players.
Yeah.
So New Zealand's 3 for 19 off the first 4 overs. Devon Conway and another South African guy, South African youngster. I think he was about 10 or something, maybe a little bit younger when he came across. They steadied the ship, about a 64-run partnership. Mm-hmm. And then Conway's hitting at the death. Unbelievable. The Aussie bowling was a little bit questionable.
They went for, 30 off the last 2?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I know off the so they were 3 for 67 off their first 10, and then they made 184. So that's 117 off the last 10 overs. So they're going nearly 12 and over off the last 10, and they were definitely getting aided by some pretty poor death bowling from the Aussies. Conway finishes 99 not out. He didn't really look close in the last over, and then he went like 6-4, and then the last ball he just needed 2 or more, and he just got the single. Yeah, so he's denied the 100. There's only 4 Kiwis that have ever scored a T20 ton. That man Colin Munro's over in Pakistan. He's got 3. Brendan McCullum's got 2. Martin Guptill has 2. He went very close today to getting his 3rd. And Glenn Phillips has 1, so he could have joined an illustrious crew there. Mm-hmm. Nevertheless, amazing knock and really set the scene for New Zealand to win this game quite comfortably, which they did. Australia, they got skittled for 131, didn't even make 18 overs. Yep. Probably the biggest point, I suppose, was Aaron Finch's poor form. He's dismissed for 1. He averaged 13 in the Big Bash. And
well done, 5 for Root.
Joe Root has a Michelle Pfeiffer. India looks to be all done and dusted at 145.
They'll probably review this just because they've got
you've got one.
You might as well.
I think this is pretty plum. He's taken a massive swing at this and missed it all and is hitting the legs Probably hitting middle.
Middle of middle.
Yeah, middle of middle.
Best
It's
OS.
not out till it's out.
We'll have a look at that in a second. Outside of that, none of the Aussies really made too many runs. This is hit halfway up his back thigh. I reckon this is crashing into leg stump.
Yeah.
Another sort of wayward shot, looking for that big sort of slog sweep here from Jasprit Bumrah. I reckon this is getting 3/4 of the way up leg.
Taking one look at it, he's like, they'll just see if it's bouncing over.
And also, does it pitch outside leg? No, that's pitching on middle.
Yeah. Just height and
3/4 of the way up leg. Thank you, umpire Pippi. India dismissed 145. They'll have a 33-run lead. So evenly poised test match, really.
very close.
And
England to come out very
20
close.
wickets fall before lunch on day 2.
How far away are they from lunch? Maybe they'll take lunch now.
They may. So lunch should be due in 15 minutes. I think they're just discussing it now.
Yeah. It's like, I think they said, we'll take lunch.
Okay, so it looks like they're going
They
to
probably don't want to bat for 15 and then come in for lunch. So
Well, it wouldn't even be that long with the innings changer. It would just be a couple overs.
Yeah.
So they're going to go to lunch. India 33, lead by 33, I should say. Ish Sodhi, he's Indian-born spinner for New Zealand. He finished with 4 for 28 in that first 2020. Cleaned up the middle order. New Zealand win that comfortably by 53 runs and take a 1-0 lead in the series.
Do you want to cover game 2?
Yeah.
Before we talk about this?
Yes. So today we had game 2 at another little suburban cricket ground there down at the University Oval.
This was a much better game than the first one, but like you say,
much better.
Like you say, small oval, so they could score runs.
Dude, small is an understatement. the Sunday Social Park cricket ground that I play on is bigger than this University Oval at Dunedin. It's pretty crazy, the dimensions of this thing.
Yeah.
And the capacity as well is only about 4,000 or 5,000, so you get that really quaint
tight-knit
kind of
group.
feel about it. And the scores reflected it. So New Zealand made 7 for 219 today. It at one stage looked like it could have been maybe 230 or 240.
They were doing it easy and they had a few wickets fall towards the end.
Yeah.
Credit the Australian bowling. They needed to take some wickets because they were in trouble.
Yeah, and the death bowling was a little bit better. The last over was expensive, but both Richardsons did a fair job at the death. Before that, Martin Guptill went off and absolutely teed off. He had 97 off 50 deliveries. He's found a little bit of form in that knock. He found Stoinis at long off to miss out on his third 2020 ton. 131-run partnership with Kane Williamson. He had 53 off 35.
Yeah. Bulk of the runs for New Zealand, so great partnership for them.
Indeed. And some really handy hitting from Jimmy Neesham. He had 45 of just 16, nearly striking at
I think he came
300.
out in his first within his first 4 balls, I think he hit 3 sixes.
Yeah. He was just on straight away. And I don't know if you guys saw, he went to play like a reverse.
I've seen this, yeah.
Reverse shot off.
No, well, didn't he try to do a ramp shot?
So it looked,
and then realize, they've bowled it on the other side, so I'm going to do a reverse ramp shot.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on. All I know is this was taking my leg,
taking the piss.
leg peg or wherever it was going. So he looks like he's leaning forward, like he wants to play some sort of reverse. Then the ball's gone on the other side, so he's sort of like reverse ramped it and hit it over third man, if you will, rather than fine leg or over the keeper for 6.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that's just cheating.
Yeah.
That's
just helping it on its way.
Unbelievable shot and an excellent knock there from Jimmy Neesham. Gets New Zealand through to 219. The death bowling was a little bit better. Probably still could be a little bit better even from today. Kane Richardson, the best of the Aussie bowlers, with 3 for 43 off his 4. Sean, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. Our boy Finchy.
Finch makes 12 today.
Well, what did I say? I said I thought he'd get out for under 10.
Pretty bloody close.
And you're like, oh, no, I'll take the overs. I think he'll get more than that. Gets 12 from 14. So wasted 14 balls.
I didn't necessarily take the overs either. I said I backed him in to bank a big score. So
True. Not a big score.
Technically, we were both wrong. Josh Philippe, lovely to see him make a handy 45 in his
good, of course.
second game. Yeah, coming off a stellar Big Bash season. And then Ashton Agar and Mitch Marsh, both Golden Ducks from Mitchell Santner. Australia in absolute licorice,
Australia
all
lost
sorts.
3 wickets from 4 balls, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, so not a great middle section.
They were 6 for 113. I just about turned it off. I thought,
We're done.
Then Marcus Stoinis and Daniel Sams put on
The big man.
excellent partnership, getting Australia so close but so far. That with about 3 overs to go, they looked like they should have
They were getting close.
won this game just about.
They're on track. They're definitely on track.
Mind you, Stoinis and Sams are both striking at about 300, just batting like absolute animals.
Just going after it.
Yeah, Stoinis was punishing everything except the low fullies, the ones that normally eat for breakfast. That was the ones that he was struggling to put away. And there were some inconsistencies in the wides, I thought, as well.
Okay.
I don't think it changed the outcome of the game because it happened to both sides. There's some of them you're looking at and you're going, that's wide, nothing called. Then there's some you're going, oh, that's borderline wide.
Were they hitting the wides? Because sometimes they let them go for the wides if they get a bat on it.
Oh no! If you hit it, it's not a wide.
Yeah.
So, but there is something that happens now with the way. So if you sort of move towards, say the bowler's going for a wide Yorker outside off, right? But you've moved across you're off
2 feet
a little bit.
Steve's missed it off.
A little bit, and then it goes 150 mil outside the line. They won't call it because you've made the bowler go out there.
Yeah, the ref's taken the 2 kind of points he said for this is where I consider wide, and you've moved, so I've moved those points with you.
Yeah,
so, it's still within the realm of where the I would technically call a wide.
So, and it makes it very hard to adjudicate.
Yes.
I don't think it changed the outcome of the game, but it is a little bit frustrating to watch it happen. And the other thing, I should say what happened. Australia just was so close and so far, but so far.
Well, I think Stoinis he had to hit 3 sixes from the last 3 balls to win it.
Well, I think it was wicket.1 or something on the first 3 of that over from that man Jimmy Neesham.
Yep.
And he'd come in and was bowling his first over of the game because they didn't want to go with the spinner Ish Shodhi. Yeah. So hats off to him. Absolute really great game from him.
So Stoinis hit 6.
4.
Well,
sorry, six, and then got
a ball he probably should have put away for a 6.
Yes.
Mishit it. It's gone straight up. He's out.
Says us boys who would have struggled to get our bat to the ball, but it was
Australia's hopes and dreams died with that ball.
Indeed. Well, they lost the game. They lost the game on that ball. It was
that was it. They had to hit a 6
in the slot, and I tell you what, the size of these grounds. That nearly went to the rope, and it was a rank top edge. It barely would be clearing the inside rope at the MCG.
Yeah.
It's crazy the difference between different cricket ovals around the world. So Australia go down in the second game here. New Zealand take a commanding 2-zip lead in a 5-game series. The last thing about the ground I noticed. Obviously, relatively easy to hit boundaries due to the small field.
How many sixes did they hit in this?
30 plus? Can you have a look? We'll be close. I don't think it'll be 30. That's a fuckload of sixes, but it'd be a lot.
I'll let Monkey figure that out.
Yeah, have a look at that for us if you don't mind, Jim.
He's doing quick math over there.
The thing that I noticed,
the numbers,
very, very, very hard to run 2s. Because
it's no space. Small. There's no space.
There's no space.
It's either you drop it down for 1 and hopefully get it, or you
launch one.
You're hitting boundaries.
Yeah. So that was an interesting thing. If you don't get onto it, then the fielding team's really on top there.
Yep.
31 sixes in total.
That's crazy.
30 plus. Yeah,
Australia
mental.
Australia got 13, and then New Zealand got the rest.
So what's that? What do quick math? 31,
14.
31 times 6.
Oh, 31 times 6.
Yeah.
186.
So 186 from 400 runs, roughly.
Yeah.
Well, sixes.
Yeah, so
almost half of some sixes.
Nearly half the runs from sixes.
Crazy.
That's some pretty good quick maths. It's obviously not our strong point here. Maybe we'll have to bring it back.
We'll have
Bring
to
the quick
rewind
math
that
back.
and make sure, it's all right.
We'll get the calculators out later and check and make sure we're right.
Something we are good at doing on this show is criticising guys that are much better than us at sport. And
Yes.
that leads us into my question for you, Sean. Is Aaron Finch in danger of being dropped despite having the captaincy based on his form?
Well,
What's your thoughts?
we'll run through your why not, and I'll give you a rebuttal on that.
Okay. I'm going to say no. He shouldn't be, and it shouldn't even be in the discussion. Obviously, he's in poor form. Every cricketer goes through poor form.
Very poor form.
Virat Kohli, as we're saying, he hasn't got an international 100 for 34.
But he's hit 50s.
He has hit 50s, but are you going to drop him because he hasn't hit 100 for 34 innings? Aaron Finch is the second highest Australian T20 run scorer of all time, behind David Warner.
Last decade.
He averages 38. He strikes over 150. He's got the highest T20 international score ever, 172. It was against Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
But that's ridiculous in a
Yeah.
T20. That's a good score in a match, let alone one bloke getting it. He's also got the third highest ever score, 156 against England 2013. His last three 2020 international bats, I get you. 12-1 duck. Nothing to write home about.
Mm-hmm.
And his big bash, let's say mediocre would be...
Average 13.
mediocre would be generous. Let's say that.
I don't think it's generous.
Before that, okay, I want to run you through his scores.
Any from this decade?
Yeah, so this is all this year and last year. His scores here: 35 against India, Manica Oval; 39 England in England; 46 England in England; 55 South Africa in South Africa. They're all good knocks. And that's all this year.
Are they 2020?
2020 internationals.
Yeah, that's last year. But I
It's in the last 12 months.
So I think they all happened in the start of last year, before, of course, COVID and all that stuff. So it's been 12 months since he's kind of had a decent bat. I think...
No, two of those games were against India here in Australia.
Yes. Yep, September.
And look, that's not 39-35. They're not big scores.
Not huge scores, but that's in considering T20 for a start. That's like a good start. I guess it depends on how many balls faced. If he's
chewing up balls,
his strike rate. If his strike rate is high, then it probably is not a big issue.
I can probably tell you here.
T20's 150 odd.
Over his career, which is
sorry,
unbelievable. Yeah. So that 35 at Manica Oval was off 26. That's striking at 135.
Not bad.
That's not bad. What was this 39 here? 39 off 26, striking at 150. Obviously the bloke's in shit form. I'm not arguing that. He's the Australian T20 captain. I don't think he should even be considered being dropped on this bad form. If we're having this conversation in 6 months, okay, then maybe start talking about it.
Yep. So
have you got a counter?
My thought is I think he needs a kick in the bum. I'm not saying drop him. You got a 5 series test. Maybe sit him for the next one.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, you've got Ben McDermott, and you've got Darcy Short sitting there.
Yeah, raring
to go. Like Ben McDermott was third highest scorer in the BPL. Or he was top 3.
He was definitely top 5.
He was up there.
I think it went Hales and Philippi were 1 and 2. Yeah. McDermott was up there.
Darcy Short didn't have the greatest of big bashes, but he was better than Finch.
Yes, undoubtedly better than Finch, and was one of the highest scorers in the Big Bash 9, the one before that.
Yes. So I know you've got, looking at the list of batters, they're the two that I'd look that you possibly replace. I think Ben McDermott probably makes the most sense. Either or, because they both play with Wade. So you've got that opening partnership for the Hobart Hurricanes. So I could see why. I just think he's in a slump. Can you find out how old Finch is as well? I don't think he's past it.
No.
He is, of course, probably getting a little bit long in the tooth.
Twilight,
yeah.
34 years old.
Yeah,
34. So you could still have 3-4 years left there.
Exactly. So
3 or 4 good years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just wonder if throughout this, maybe he's got too comfortable.
Yeah, possibly.
with his spot, like he's the captain, he retains it. The innings he played today, 12 for 14. I probably would have liked it. If you're going to get 12, make it off 6 and get out early.
But I
save a few of those balls.
You're opening as well. You want to eat up a couple possibly at the start. It's a different story if you're batting 5 or 6.
I agree. But he needs to make scores. He hasn't scored. The Renegades were bottom of the league because of Aaron Finch.
Not solely.
Not solely.
But
he's the core of that team.
He was the captain, opening batsman, most experienced guy.
Which is my kind of issue or problem with it, because he's setting the tone. He's not setting the tone. Didn't for the Renegades. He's not doing it for Australia. Mm-hmm. We need someone like Sinus to come out and just have an absolute blinder with his Sams to even get us close in the conversation.
Yeah.
Otherwise...
And it wasn't all on Finch today. There was a lot of guys out there. Mitch Marsh, Ashton Agar. Wade didn't make a lot of runs.
Maxwell didn't make a lot of runs either.
Yeah, it's not all
I think Wade was probably third highest scorer in the end after all this.
What did Wade have, 20 odd today? 24?
24, yeah.
Yeah, 24. But I'm not saying drop him. There's a big squad. You need to win games. Do you
change up the order then?
Yeah, well, do you move him down 1 and you bat him 3 and you move Philippi up into 2 as an option?
Yeah, maybe.
See how that works.
Here's something we haven't considered yet.
Yeah, go.
David Warner, Steve Smith, both not in this squad.
There's also that. If we're talking World Cup team, it's different again. So,
and then that swings the argument back in your favour. If they are available, then there's no you can't even. Yeah, there's no argument that says on form Finch should be in that side. You're trying to keep him there on what he's done.
We had this argument a couple of weeks ago that all the batters, the 8 guys, the 5 to 6 guys they had to play in those top 3 to 4 spots, he was the last on the list on form because the others had all batted pretty well throughout the Big Bash.
Yep.
So he's already, that's why we're talking about it, because he's already in that spot. He hasn't made a big score. I think it's coach-wise. Who's coaching the T20? Is it Ricky?
I think it's Ricky. Yeah.
Yeah. Does Ricky
have a look at that?
Ricky went through his form slumps, of course.
All cricketers do. All cricketers do.
Well, we talked about last week.
Steve Smith, everyone was calling for his bloody head. In the Test matches, hadn't scored a Test ton for 16 months or whatever.
But we also talked last week that no Australian cricketer has ever not been dropped. I'm not saying drop him, but maybe I'd sit him and just. Maybe this next match. But
then what kind of message does that send saying we don't have faith in you, Well,
it's maybe not faith, but it's just we value winning. We value form. The guys that are hitting, that have form, they're in the team. Take that whole Indian mentality. You're picked as a batter. You're not scoring runs. Out you go. We've got 2 guys ready to go that are raring to go. Bring in one of them and say, hey, we'll throw out, I said it to Macca last week, you throw around the loyalty card a bit. He is the captain. You want to be loyal to him. You've been loyal to him throughout this series. Maybe it's, hey, he plays the next one. If we lose, we've lost the series. So maybe you sit him the last 2, as in to have that kind of call to say, hey, you need to find some form. We're going to blood some young guys.
Yep.
So maybe that's the way to do it. I would think if they want to win this series, maybe sit him 1, get a guy in there, see if they do anything, and then you're just trying to G him up. You just kick him in the ass and say, hey, if you want to win this squad, you need to bat well. Have a great, get in the nets the next day, smash it out, come raring into, say, the 4th T20 after hopefully we've won at least one, the one in between, and then he goes out and hits almost 100. That's what I want to see.
Yeah,
I want to see him to react to it. I don't want to, I just think he's just motoring along at the moment, unfortunately.
I like that idea of yours is if we get done in this next one, 3-zip.
Well, I think if we've done 3-zip, it's out of the question. I think they're going to say, Finch, you're done.
And not just him. No, I would never.
Not dropped, but I think we're going to move you.
If it's 3-zip, I think they say 5 guys go warm on the bench and get your McDermotts, get your Merediths in.
Well, I think if we lose this one, I think probably Wade as well. I'd say McDermott, Philippi probably open.
They
just go young.
Get some young
Let's
guys
get ready
in,
for the next World Cup.
See what you can do. We've already lost a series.
Yep.
But I'm sticking by him. He's been one of the best Australian tennis.
That's my opener.
That's my quarterback. That's my Australian Captain, I'm sticking with him. And Finchy, don't let me down in this third game. Go out there and score a ton and shut everyone up. Look at Guptill. You know, Guptill was in horrendous form, and the way that he was hitting the ball today,
just got to hit his way out of it. Yeah,
even though it wasn't an under 12s Division 2 oval, the way he was hitting the ball so cleanly today, class guys never lose that. They go through form slumps, and you know, when you're out of form, it's the shittest feeling in the world. It's shit being out of form in Sunday social cricket. But I'm sticking by him, and I think it'd be silly to drop him, and I'm sure in 6 months' time we'll be talking about all the runs he's made.
Fingers crossed, hopefully for Australia.
That concludes that.
Australian, yeah.
That's an interesting discussion.
Yeah, I thought
it's nice to...
Great. Yeah,
We'll agree to disagree. Agree to a gentleman's disagreement there.
Well, time will tell. Like, it's good to discuss. Like the reason it's out there is because of the reasons we outlined. Like, it's worth talking about. It's worth having a look at it, so that when, you know, in a couple of months' time, when the next series of T20 comes up, the next World Cup's 1 in 2 years.
This year, the T20 World Cup.
We want to find guys that can bat, and that because that squad's probably going to have a few guys rotate in and out because it's the World Cup's. You know, it's long. Dave Warner, Steve Smith probably going to feature in there at some point, depending on how they probably go in the IPL as well. That series, like, a lot to happen.
Surely they're in that team.
Fingers crossed.
Good discussion.
Yeah. And before we jump into Shield, I just want to 5'8" from 6 overs.
Joe Root. So he's previously had a 4-fer, I think, and it went for a fair bit. And I think that the graphic that just came up before that, his best bowling was 2-fers. So by far and away his best effort with the rock there.
So it's great timing. India and England are just coming back out from the tea break, which I think actually was only short. They only did 15 minutes. So maybe they didn't take lunch.
Yeah, I don't know how it's working. We're obviously watching it without sound.
But guess who's got the rock to open up the bowling?
Spinner, I'd imagine.
Well, it looks
Is it
actually maybe it's not. Maybe not Ashwin. I think he had the ball
Ashwin's there with his cap on.
So maybe it's not Ashwin. Patel maybe. Yeah. But he looks like he's warming up.
So Sibley and Crawley out there, and as we was talking about, it is Akshay getting the new rock. What are them pick quicks in like seriously, maybe you could dead set get away with
Washington's not in the team, is he?
No, he's back in.
He is.
Yeah,
he's back.
He's back in this one, so they've got 3. And he didn't bowl.
Like, I was just thinking about it. Like, Washington didn't get any wickets.
No, he didn't bowl, and he didn't make any runs. So
yes.
So
poor Washington.
The only thing that we were saying that might be keeping him, or why he might have been stiff to miss out last time, was his batting. He didn't get an opportunity to bowl. It's a completely different ball game over there. How about those speed dealers and Akshay? Jeez, buy a bag off you. Yes.
We're talking about sunglasses, by the way. The first ball. Oh, my God.
Oh,
Crawley is gone.
Oh, that's top of off.
Made 50 in the first innings. This game may be done today at this rate.
I've got nothing to do. Well, I'm going on my honeymoon tomorrow, but I can sleep in. I don't have to be up for work. So yeah, if you made it through this far again, congratulations. But I didn't mean. I've got nothing to do. I can stay up.
How much is this turned? Is it just,
I think it's a straight one again.
It's just straighten up a little bit. He's probably he's thinking it's probably going to play straighter. It's turned a little bit.
Yeah, he's obviously beaten him with the spin there, but I don't know the line that Crawley is playing there.
He's really inside it, like,
all around it.
Yeah, for a big man.
Golden quackaroo there for Zach Crawley, and
which is bad for England because he kind of held their first innings together with his 53.
We'll just watch for this next ball.
All right, live here with ball 2 coming in.
It looks like Langer is coach for T20.
So he might be the official.
Yeah, I think he's the
official guy, but
I thought we kind of talked about this last time. I thought they was trying to spread it out.
I thought so too.
Each format had a different coach. And I thought Ricky was taking T20.
Possibly
the IPL.
If the Aussies were over in South Africa at the moment,
might
have picked up the gig.
Yeah,
true.
Well, I've noticed. Maybe there might be some quarantine issues as well, because the Aussies obviously had to quarantine over there, going to New Zealand, and I've noticed all the commentators like Mark Waugh, Ishagur, David Warner was on there the other night. They're they're doing it from Sydney, or they're doing it from a studio. They're not there at the ground,
Yeah.
so perhaps there is something there.
Bairstow looks
But
like he's a
Patel's-
man he's walking out here about to get fucked. He does not look confident.
Well, and Patel's on a hat trick as well because he must have got that last wicket in the first innings. He could
True.
get a cross innings hat trick. There's not been too many of those in Test cricket.
Very true.
Yeah. Also, I was just thinking, is Ricky coaching one of the IPL teams?
Yeah, he is actually.
So they just did the auction. He may be in India as he may have other focuses than.
I'm sure he's. I'm sure he is. I forget which one. Ricky Ponting, IPL coach. He's definitely coaching one of them.
Patel on a hat trick.
Delhi Capitals. He's coaching. So
it wouldn't surprise
might
me.
be
if-
tied up with that.
Yeah, instead of doing the T20 series. So that makes sense. All right, Patel on a hat trick. Where do you think he's going with this, Pebby?
Oh, he'd be going down to the local corner store to try and sell some drugs with those sunglasses. I would have thought.
I'm surprised he bowls with sunglasses. Most of the blokes take them
Yeah,
off.
a lot of spinners do it.
Yeah,
Here
young
we go.
bloke though.
Oh, this could be it.
He's got his hat trick. He's done it. Oh, man.
Oh.
I told you, he looks like he was.
Oh my goodness! What sweep? Like I don't know about
Sweep
that.
on the first
Sweeping
one.
that hat trick. Like that's ballsy.
Ugh.
He's missed it by a country mile. It's got his like the midway up his right thigh. I reckon that's plum.
I told you,
Oh.
looking at him walking out to that pitch, he was just like, I'm about to get fucked here. No confidence, no swagger at all in the walk. There was no like pumping the legs up.
I don't think he's reviewing this.
He's called it review.
Nah, this is out, man. This is plum. No bat.
No
on that.
bat, hitting the
Hit
body.
him hip.
Hit him
It's hit
there.
him hip.
He's on one knee.
He's on one
though.
knee though, so it's low. It's probably gonna nick the bails looking at that.
I think it's.
He's
getting
short
stumped.
too. He's short too.
I think that's getting 3/4 up middle.
Yeah.
Like it looked fucking plum. How good the live reaction we've had before. Just what you see is what you get. There's no bat on this.
Oh.
He's a long way forward. That could help. That could help.
It's not like that angle though. It's not going up high. Like
No,
high.
and the Indian bounce as well, subcontinental bounce. I don't
Yeah.
think this is going over. I reckon this is 3/4 up middle.
yeah, there's no bat in that. It was very close on there, but yeah.
This could be a pair because he had a duck in the first innings, as we're alluding to. Seeing the Hawkeye
Bounce.
now. Oh,
Missing, wow.
well over.
Missing
Wow.
just
well
over.
over.
I reckon he's been stiffed on the bounce. I think they've added a bit of extra
You
bounce
reckon?
into that.
Keep it interesting. Good,
Yeah.
good review. It turns out.
Oh.
I think how far forward he was helped him there. And
Possibly.
Yeah.
That side angle revealed
But
a
looking
little
at
bit.
looking at the
That
angle,
side angle, it looked low.
it didn't look like
wasn't
it had
pitching
that
back
angle.
up.
Yeah, I think he's been stiffed.
Can't question the Hawkeye.
Possibly.
Imagine that missing out on a hat trick from a DRS. Yeah, see from there that looks
plum.
That looks plum.
They're probably just like,
Oh.
there's no way that's bounced that high.
Looks like Boomer was more disappointed than Akshar.
Yeah.
Well, best though to fight another day. Let's keep rolling. We've been talking about
Yeah,
cricket
let's-
for a
let's just
long
He'll
time.
get out.
Let's
He'll
watch
get out
this
this ball.
ball.
There it is. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Just get it.
Hey, he'll get out this ball. Oh my god.
Best of shit.
Wow. All right, so he's just survived that. He's just survived a DRS, which was questionable, was going well over, and then he's just played all around it. Akshar gets his. That's 3 wickets in
Did you try
4
sweeping this
balls.
again?
No, this is straight through the gate. He just come forward, and then I think this is straight through bat and pad. Let's have a look. Yeah, bang. And
Yeah.
just,
Look how far-
just got the bail.
Yeah,
That's the same length as the last ball.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I think, yeah.
Virat's fucking fired up as usual.
He's like, come on.
Let's fucking go. And Bairstow does have a pair.
Yeah. Well, looking at his defense on that, between bat and pad, there's like a 6-inch gap.
Yeah. Reminiscent of Joseph McGrath's batting for the Yams. Hopefully you're listening to this one, Macca.
Love him, Magga.
Over there. And parent-teacher night's going well. Maybe tell them parents to listen on the Esky.
Yes.
Maybe not the 6th graders.
Patel, at this rate, he'll probably get a hat trick in this over. Well, he's had wicket. Probably should have had a wicket. Wicket.
Yeah. He should have 4 in a row, really.
Joe Root to save England.
Let's talk about this Shield cricket.
Let's go through some Shield cricket, and if anything happens in the India game, we'll cover it.
Can you first have a look at this for me? So
Just leave it, Max.
So Pat Cummins is was the New South Wales captain for the Marsh Cup today.
Yes. So he's officially been named captain.
They've taken it away from Peter Neville.
Peter Neville, I think, was the captain in that game, the first official Shield game.
Back, yep.
Because Cummins sat out that game because he was rested.
Yes.
So Cummins is the captain. He did captain the OD, the one-day game they played. The first one, he was rested for the long form of Shield cricket, and then in the next game, which is underway.
Yeah, day one
today. Yeah, he's captain. So that, of course, with your favourite grooming,
a little bit of grooming, a bit of Rolf Harris.
Yeah. That's terrible. But yes, it's preparing him to possibly, give him the captaincy and give him a run at that for possibly taking over the Australian. Oh my God, that's gone close. Teller's bowling them all sorts. Did you see if we're speaking about the New South Wales captain, did you see Steve Smith, the little bit of chat of him on the radio?
Not really.
They were asking him about how, Cummins being the captain, because, the whole idea is they're alluding to the fact that, hey, he's going to be Australian captain. How did you think he went as Australian captain? As New South Wales captain, as a fast bowler? And Steve Smith very much gave a nonchalant answer to it. It was like, it wasn't a really tough day in the field or anything like that. Like, he didn't have to do too much. Didn't back him, didn't go, excellent job as a captain. He's the future of the New South Wales captain. Like, I'd love playing for the bloke, that kind of thing. Which led to a lot of people, especially the radio hosts that were doing these interviews, like, that's it's a little bit odd that he didn't come out and give him a heap of support.
Yeah.
And they're thinking, maybe he still wants the captaincy, which of course doesn't surprise me. No shit. But didn't back he's equivalent in the bowling stocks. It's ugly. He and Cummins are 1A and 1B as best Australian Test players at the moment.
Oh, definitely the best. That's the best bat and the best bowl.
Yeah.
I think this is a bit of a storm in a teacup. What do you want the bloke to say? He fell on his sword with the whole sandpaper gate sort of thing.
He's now available to be Australian captain. Like, he's served his time.
Yeah, what's he meant to go out there and say, Paddy should be the captain. I don't want it.
The competitor in him, of course, he wants it.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to, appease the media and dickheads like us that sit around drinking beer and talking about it. But you can't blame Stephen for that answer. And I'm sure in his brain he was thinking, listen here, you dickhead journalist. Of course I want to be Australian captain again. It's what every young boy that plays cricket wants to do one day. I think a bit of a storm in a teacup.
Yeah. And, we're not going to get an answer on this anytime soon till Tim Payne gets sacked.
Yeah. Or goes out and makes 5 tons in a row, which I'm hoping.
Definitely, especially with the Ashes coming up. Like, I'd hope he makes 5 tons in a row. But, if the Ashes doesn't go well, then I think Tim Payne's probably done.
Yeah.
And they'll look for someone else. They're grooming Cummins to be that guy. If it's not him, Steve Smith, of course, in the conversation. Whether Cricket Australia wants to go Steve Smith or not.
Minus Labuschagne. We could talk about this for
a Labuschagne, but yeah. That's a end of the year discussion. We'll get to that after the Ashes.
Indeed. And just a bit of sad news, I think. Mitchell Starc.
I think it's probably pretty poignant because we got stuck in Starc last week with his form in the Shield cricket. We got stuck in him for his form over the summer. It's come out this week that his old man has passed away from cancer. So, cancer is not a thing that pops up overnight. So he's obviously been in this battle for quite a long time. Yeah. It's your old man, it's your father. So obviously Starc's mind's probably elsewhere as well, which may have affected his form. Yeah. So,
and just wish all the best to Starkey and his family and his mum and cancer's
hey,
fucked like.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't had a great summer with the ball, but this news you give him a pass. Like, honestly,
yeah, of course. And there's more to bloody life than sport,
definitely.
isn't there? You know,
especially someone like Father Fick. You know, I guess I'm assuming Stark. You know, looks up to him and like it's like
it's incredibly sad and it's something that was sort of away from the media, and just wish Mitchell and you know his mum and his family all the best.
Exactly. You know, we criticise the player.
I think he's got a brother. I think he's got a brother.
Yes, he does.
That does athletics.
He won a gold medal in high jump, I think, or long jump. One of the two.
Yeah, Stark's brother. I think you might be right there.
Yeah, I did see the story, but
maybe not Olympic.
Commonwealth.
Definitely.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, definitely Commonwealth.
Anyways, probably going to be on the Olympic team, but yeah.
Who cares about gold medals when you lose your old man?
But I think my point was, we criticise the player, but you can't forget the person.
Yep.
Like,
there's more.
You don't know. You see the field, you don't know what happens off it.
That's right.
And for Starkey, like his old man's probably going through chemo treatment. He's probably in and out of the hospital.
Yeah.
You know that takes a toll on you.
Yeah, for sure.
Mentally,
very difficult,
and physically,
very difficult to stay.
It's definitely
mentally sharp in that. Yeah, Brandon Stark. Any goss on?
So gold medal in high jump 2018 Gold Coast Commonwealth Games.
Commonwealth, yeah.
Is he big, tall lad like Mitchell?
I'd assume so if he's getting high jump medals.
6'2".
That's a little shorter than I was expecting. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Boy's got hops.
He came 15th in the Rio Olympics.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So
how old is he? He's
younger than Mitchell.
He's much younger. Yeah,
27. Yeah,
not much.
Yeah,
3 years.
So
or something.
you assume he'd be in line for Tokyo, but depending if Tokyo happens or not. But yeah.
Anyways, fuck cancer. I think is the
yes
is the take home message from that.
Big time.
And all the best to Mitchell and his family.
Another
pretty scary or unusual story, I guess, is Mitch Swepson is out from the rest of the Shield season. He's got a fracture in his C6. It's a stress fracture.
Yeah.
No idea how that happens to a spinner. I don't really know how that happens to a cricketer.
Maybe fielding related.
Fielding, perhaps.
But you just land on it wrong.
Well, stress fractures tend to be overuse injuries that slowly sort of that develop. You hear about the quicks always getting in their lower back. Yeah,
maybe it's a rotation, like he's bowling. He just gets it in his spine a bit. But like you say, C6, that's high, isn't it? That's
highly unusual. Well, yeah, if
it's not one of your lower back.
It's in your mate. It's about here in your neck, and we're
talking middle of neck for those that are not listening.
That are just listening. If you get a bad fracture in that, there's a chance you can be a quadriplegic. So that's.
I wonder if maybe he's got a head flick, like in his bowl, he's got a head flick. The head flick over and over. The head flick.
It's just something I've never heard of in cricket, let alone in spinners. So hoping he has a speedy and full recovery.
Definitely, because he's the number 2 spin bowler in Australia at the moment. So
essentially, and Warnie's always talking about him, about how they should be looking at him in longer format. Have you got anything else there on that story there, Jim?
No, not really. Again, I guess just reiterating, don't really know how it's happened. It's obviously happens a lot with fast bowlers, but but even fast bowlers,
I've never heard of it happening in the neck. That it's very common for them to get in their lumbar spine.
Because it's
down
the
here.
arching.
Yeah, put your back into it, bend your back. Your fast bowlers always get told to do that, but very strange injury, and hoping he can come out of that unscathed.
Yep. Do you want to cover some games? Can you find some Swepson highlights for me? I just want to, let's have a quick look at his form. I just want to see.
Sure thing. There's not too much to cover in the Shield. We did say that we want to commit to following the Shield cricket.
100%.
Everyone in Australia wants to pick a Test 11. Not everyone is up to date with what's happening in the Shield.
The other 50-odd blokes that are going around.
So, so New South Wales currently playing Victoria.
So this is
at Bankstown Oval. Yeah, so they played last week, didn't they?
Yes.
And Victoria won that.
Yes.
Despite New South Wales' star-studded lineup. The Vics, after a rain-affected start at Bankstown Oval, finished 7 for 168. Matt Short, 80 not. He also had a couple of runs last week. And then not much else from the Victorian bats. Harry Conway, believe it or not, bowling third change, I believe, had 3 for 31 in a side which featured Copeland and Cummins.
Yep.
They also weren't too bad themselves.
Copeland was good. That's good numbers.
Yeah, and so Victoria will resume tomorrow, 7 for 168, hoping for some good weather up in Sydney, get a result or at least a bit of play in that game. And then the other game that's happening at the moment, South Australia, Western Australia at the Wacker. South Australia had an absolute day, 4 for 335, and this ball is turning absolute right angles over in Ahmedabad.
2 feet, that one.
Oh, unbelievable. Jeez.
If he wants some turn on it, they can drop it in the dirt.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why they're 6 for 2.
Young fella Henry Hunt. He's actually out of Cowra, not far.
Well, you've just moved games, so South Australia to versus Western Australia.
Yep, 4 for 335.
At the Wacker?
At the South Australians.
The new Wacker?
Here, yeah.
Or old Wacker?
I think it's at the old Wacker.
Oh, there you go.
I believe it's at the old Wacker. They didn't knock it down or anything. Have a look at that. I'm pretty sure this is at the old Wacker. So that's Henry Hunt's second first class ton. He did get one on debut against Tasmania in 2019. I think he's played 5 games since then. About 23-year-old, someone to keep an eye on there. Yep. And then Travis Head.
That's what we want to see, boy.
Not hurting his test reselection chances. 173 not off 184 balls.
That's
if
good
you don't mind.
rate.
Striking at about 92 or something. And then there's another young gun. He didn't do too much today, but his name's Liam Scott. And he's 20 years old. He's batting 4 for South Australia. Just someone to keep an eye on. Do want to mention that WA, no Jai Richardson, no Jason Behrendorff, no Andrew Tye. They're all in New Zealand.
Yep.
They got Joel Paris. There's probably a couple of other quicks to mention that weren't playing today. I was having a look at a few of the names and not much experience there. Perhaps if those guys are in the side, it's a little bit of a different day there at the Wacker. Is it? I'm sure. I think they still play at the Wacker.
Yeah, they didn't knock the Wacker down, James.
No, I don't
Still
think
there?
so. It's not an Optus.
I think they built it right next to it.
I'm
Stadium.
Pretty sure it's pretty close. Wacker.
Yeah, Wacker.
Yeah. So still playing there, and as we speak, there's another review being taken here by India. Jeez,
that one may be a bit high.
This game, dead set, could be
there's
done
no
tonight.
bat. There's no bat.
Long way forward.
Yeah, I think he's got some decent bounce. If the last one missed, this one should miss.
Hit him on the knee roll. Be interesting.
It's in line. Oh, it's outside. It's come all the way back. That's how far that's come back.
Yeah,
that's a long way back.
Yeah, a lot of bounce.
A bit of a shit review, that. Anyways, doesn't help England's situation at all. They're 2 for 8 in the 4th over. And outside that, that's about it.
About it for the Shield cricket?
Anything to add? In our week of cricket, 90 minutes of cricket today.
Yes. Swepson. Did you find any highlights for Swepson? Can you whack something on the screen for me?
Not much. I got this.
Yeah, I just want to watch him bowl.
So this was playing for Australia A in a practice game.
Yeah, well,
even to start.
Unless he's injured his neck whipping around for appeals.
He keeps his head up.
Yeah, it's his head straight. It's not like he flicks it or. That's all right. Just let it play. He ducks it down a little bit.
I don't know if that's violent enough to bring that on.
His body rotates around when he's coming through, but his head stays straight. But
it's a little. There's
a little whip in it.
Yeah, a whip down to the left. So maybe that's it. He's just part of that duck down. Like you got to remember, he'll bowl, 1,000 balls in this and then 1,000 balls in training every day. So
highly repetitive, but very, very unusual injury for a spinner, and just hoping he makes a quick and full recovery.
There's neck strength muscles and
coming from the doctors here on the Esky Sports Doctors.
Yeah, but I will say there is a little bit of a he ducks it down into the left there to like a little bit of a flick. Which maybe that's all it is, and like we said, the repetition, the 100,000 balls he bowls every year, that's just worn him down over the last decade. So
maybe I think 100,000 might be over.
Yes, probably.
Probably bowls 5,000 a year, 10,000.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how his form.
There you go. There's him bowling to David Warner and in the nets and. skittling him.
It'd be interesting to see what his form looks like after this, whether it's
if they change something,
if they have a look at it and tweak it a little bit, because like looking at there's the little bit of the head turn, the duck down there,
which maybe Davey there hasn't
to rip it. That's moved so far.
That's moved so
far. Where are they doing that in India? Jesus, I suppose.
That's hit. That looks like hit. That looks like in the Perth nets or something.
Yeah, got some turn out of that.
Would anyone like a beer? I think
yes, I'd like a beverage, and I think that'll wrap up cricket for this week.
90 minutes of cricket. We will cut that into a few short vids.
Yes, definitely. Thank you if you've followed through the whole podcast. If you're this deep already, please like and subscribe. All right, domestic sports. Some NRL.
Take it away, Sean.
Well, I think there's a whole bunch of stories about Cameron Smith. Let's start with there. Melbourne named 2 new coaches, so Jesse Bromwich and Dane Finucane. Long-term players with the Storm.
Dale Finucane.
Dale, sorry. What did I say? Dane. Sorry, Dale. Why did I read that as a name? Dale Finucane. Long-time players. Both played, one's played Origin, one's played for the Kiwis. Both won bulk amount of premierships with the Storm. Mm-hmm. So they can definitely cover it. But I think the main thing is, Melbourne have now announced 2 captains. Their former captain, Cameron Smith, off contract still. So it looks like Storm are starting to move on. Of course, the season starts in 2 weeks. So I think they've kind of gone writings on the wall. No Cameron this year. If Cameron's going to play, it's maybe going to be in Queensland, considering he's moved his whole family up there. But leading towards more retirement.
Yeah, this far out, you'd think you'd know.
You'd think.
Yeah, sport's done some weird things to us.
Yeah. We talked about the Titans a little bit last week, Cameron Smith. It looks like the Titans are kind of officially ruled themselves out. They're under a little bit of an investigation at the moment because they paid out. You know how Fafita had that trespassing case at the start of the year? I think he was trying to hook up with some bird and went to the house, and an old man was there and kicked him out and was like, "You're trespassing." Blah blah blah.
I must have missed that.
So
Fafita.
Yeah,
that's what you do when you're 15.
Move from Brisbane to the Titans. So big name signing for them. So it sounds like the Titans may have made a little bit of a payment to said home owner.
This is a highly alleged.
Well, the NRL's looking into it because they want to know if they did make this payment. Because 2, it may actually fall under the salary cap because it's in relation to David Fafita, which then means I think it's like a $50,000 payment. So if that is the case, then they don't have enough money to fit Cameron Smith under the salary cap. So that's why they're kind of ruling it out. So they're like, we actually can't chase that $550,000 question we said last week is now, do you want to take $500,000? Because we don't have any money left.
That's very juicy. We'll see how that develops. What a bloody soap opera.
Oh, absolutely. And then Brisbane are like, wait, Cameron Smith's on the market. So they've got, Cameron was in Suncorp doing some presentation during the week. So they've roped in, old boys that are around the club, that millionaires and that, and say, hey, come play for Brisbane, come join the Broncos. So I think they may be on the cards. I think it's at this point it's like a 95% chance he's retired and 5% out likely chance that he plays for Brisbane.
What do you got there, Jim? Any goss?
Otherwise, he's definitely retired. He was at a bloody trial game. He was at the Titans trial game during the week.
He was.
So again, throwing out rumors about that. But Cameron Smith, he's been around the sport for 40 odd years. He absolutely loves his NRL. He absolutely loves his NRL. He's going to follow. He's in Queensland. He's like, the boys are playing. I'll go down and watch them. Sitting in the crowd, trying to. Maybe he needs a better disguise. Let's put it that way.
Maybe. Nothing much. I think at that thing with the old boys, said that he's still got a big decision to make. So he's probably a flip of a coin at the moment.
Yeah. It sounds like Melbourne's definitely ruled him out. Titans can't get him. So it's like whether do I want to play a season with Brisbane? Because Kevin Walters is there. Walters won on Origin. I think that was the year after Cameron retired. I don't think Walters ever had Cameron in the squad from memory. So he may not have played for Kevin. Of course, maybe not. because Mal was the coach before then, and I don't think Kevin was involved as an assistant coach, and Cameron wouldn't have been involved when Wayne and Kevin were back in Brisbane at all. So I'm trying to make connections here. With whether there's there's a bit of a relationship there that maybe they could do a deal or something like that. But yeah, I'd say Cameron's retired at this point.
Yeah, time will tell, and we should know in the next week or two. So,
money aside, would Cameron want to play for the Broncos?
Well, it's outside the Roosters. It's the premier club in the league. So
it's the biggest supporter base.
Yeah, and if he wants,
but look at last season.
True.
How do you reckon they'll go this season?
Well, if you put Cameron Smith in that squad, they're going to be better.
Here's what I want you to do.
Good enough for Cameron Smith, though.
Jimmy, this is what I want you to do to answer this question. Have a look at that hat that you're wearing.
True.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
Who else is Cameron Smith bringing to the Broncos, though?
If you asked me 18 months ago, is Tom Brady going to leave New England to go to Tampa Bay to try and win a Super Bowl down there with a mediocre team? Not putting Tampa in the same boat as Brisbane. That'd probably be like him going to the New York Jets or Jacksonville at this stage. But
yes.
You can't rule it out, can you?
You can't rule it out.
If you said that, if you were trying to pitch that to me 15 months ago, saying Brady's going to go to Tampa to try and win a Super Bowl down there, I'd say fuck off, get off the drugs, etc., etc.
Well, Brady they were a wildcard team, so I think Cameron could take Brisbane from they got the spoon, didn't they? Yeah, from Spooners. Yep. I think he could take them to the 8. They could be the 8 guys.
From one player?
I think raises all boats.
Yeah.
So
and that leadership possibly.
You put him in that spine. They've got young guys. Maybe it's exactly what Milford needs. He needs that veteran guy that
mentorship
that can run him around, and he can then just play his natural game, which is the movements around there, the showpiece kind of spot. So I think he could do that. Do I think he's going to? The other point I was going to make is Brisbane Premier Club. Cameron, of course, been doing some more commentary in the last year. Do you play a year at Brisbane just to set yourself up? Like LeBron went to LA, do you put yourself in the core market you want to be in? Because, everyone knows he played for Melbourne. Everyone hates him because he played for Melbourne. Do you play a year at Brisbane so you can then be around the Queensland? You be in the Queensland media for the sport. You set yourself up for the next 10 years career-wise. Or do you just disappear into the ether and retire?
He won't disappear into the ether. He'll definitely be doing something media or coaching related, you'd think.
I will say, I said he was hated because he was at Melbourne. He did win 10 Origins for Queensland, so he's loved in Queensland.
It was love-hate. And anyone that is not a Queensland fan or a Melbourne Storm fan tends to strongly dislike Cameron Smith.
Just like Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You hate the fact that he's so good and that he wins all the bloody time. But does he go to Brisbane, make himself the face, help Kevin Walters out? Maybe they bring Bellamy in next year, and then he becomes, an assistant coach to Bellamy. You can see that story being written.
You could, yeah.
But I honestly think he'd retire.
Time will tell. I know what I would do. I would be on a golf course with 6 to 8 beers every day for the rest of my life. But obviously he's got a family and shit to look after.
Yeah.
But
I'd be surrounded by bulk bitches.
Julie, I hope you're not an hour and 45.
She's never going to be 2 hours deep in this shit.
So Walters was assistant coach at the Storm.
There you go. There's connection. I found it.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah. You're doing an Alan off hangover, just trying to just grab some numbers and get them to fit.
Yeah.
No, the classic meme of trying to explain the story with all the ropes connected and that. Yeah, we found the connection. There it is.
Maybe in 2 weeks when he's named in Brisbane Broncos starting 13.
You heard it here on the Esky.
You've got a few like that recently. A few JJ Watt calls. a few come to mind. So we'll see. All-Stars game. Obviously, none of us saw. I don't know about you. Did you guys catch?
I didn't catch the actual game. I saw
some idiot was getting married the next day.
Yeah, that's probably didn't help us. I did see the intros. So the Indigenous war cry beforehand and the Maori haka, both very impressive. Definitely G up for the game. The game itself, from all reports, was a bit sloppy, a bit of drop ball. Not unexpected for the first game of the year. Whoa, excuse me. Finished in a 10-all draw. I don't think anyone was competitive towards the end. Like they were.
You saw how it finished, but didn't you?
Oh no, go.
So there was 10-8 with a minute left to go.
Kick a penalty.
Maori's up.
Yeah.
And Cody Walker thought that it goes to Golden Point. So he's like, there was.
We'll tie it up a penalty.
Yeah. So and then Laurie Daly apparently knew that didn't go to Golden Point, and he was trying to get a message out, couldn't get the message out.
We need to score a try. Yeah.
They kick it, and it finishes in a 10-all draw. It sounds like if we had to miss a game, this was the one to miss, I think. Yeah. Yeah,
it was a bit sloppy, and I think there was a bit of feeling in it as well. There was a bit of coming together. No real biffo to talk about, but
just a bit of passion.
Definitely. Yeah. That's the best way to explain it. A bit of passion.
You're playing, for your heritage. You'd question a bloke if there wasn't passion.
Yep.
Oh, definitely.
So, and again, we spoke about it last week. I like this format. They used to have the NRL All-Stars.
Well, I think it's good because, the Queensland guys, you miss out on the guys that, say, represent New Zealand. Mm-hmm. So they don't get to play in that. And, of course, they play against Australia plus New Zealand. Mm-hmm. But you do miss out on, I don't want to say it's second tier, but you miss out on all those other Maori guys that, say, not playing for New Zealand but are playing in the NRL all the time. They're big names.
Yep.
Getting them to play against, good talent, and the Indigenous team is stacked full of talent. So I think it's just excellent.
And
it's just a better format.
As we spoke about on the Esky last week, all those Melbourne guys unable to travel up. Your Bromwiches, there was a whole list, wasn't there?
etc.
Addo Carr, the cheese.
Yeah, the cheese.
So that opened up the door for a lot of guys to go out there and get a rep Guernsey. And whilst the game mightn't have turned out as entertaining as it could be, it's a really good opportunity for those youngsters.
Definitely. Let's run through some player news. So I guess the first one to start off with is your boy, who sounds a bit unwanted at the moment.
Yeah.
Corey Norman, he gets suspended for 1 week and has a $20,000 fine. He has another week outstanding, so he's like good behaviour.
Yeah, probation type thing.
But the question I think of this is a bit harsh because he's with Seguiaro, and it sounds like Seguiaro was actually being provoked, being racially abused.
Yes.
Corey Norman stepped in to separate this.
Mate. They're good mates.
Look out for his mate. And then, someone started throwing punches. And they're in self-defense mode at the moment. So throwing punches back.
And there is a little bit of video.
Brawl ensued.
Yeah. Well, maybe I've got my red and white glasses on, but I do think it's a little bit unfair.
To miss a game, I think it's a bit unfair.
Well, and $20,000 is a lot of money.
Well, I can understand. Hey, you brought the game into disrepute. You're in the media for the wrong reasons again. Yes. I can understand the fine, maybe not $20,000. But the whole story, if true as well.
Yeah, that's always two sides to every story, isn't there?
If they were being racially abused in this,
And the other blokes have thrown the first punch.
Exactly. Again,
which is what it looks like from the video.
Yeah. Again, you'd say, why isn't the NRL out here supporting them, backing them? What am I meant to do? Where's the racial justice? Where's the the backing of the players in this instance versus we're in the fucking media again, suspension, fine, away we go.
And race aside, what are you meant to do if you're out in the street and someone throws the first punch? You're just meant to just get punched in the head?
Yeah, well,
like I don't know. Then there's an argument, I suppose, to say, why'd they get themselves in that position? Or they're leaving dinner with they were on
with some women.
They were on a double date. It wasn't 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't know.
They weren't heavily intoxicated.
No.
They're just gone down the wrong street and run into the wrong boys.
Yeah, no. I feel a little bit for Corey and for James Seguiaro, and obviously Seguiaro hasn't been punished by the NRL, so there's no consistency. I don't know. To me, it all just stinks a little bit, and I do feel for the boys here.
I think as stars, these guys are professionals, but as guys that play at sport at elite level and are well known, you got a target on your back. There's always going to be blokes.
Of course there is.
There's always going to be nuffies out there that are going to get stuck in here on the street.
Yep.
So yes, you got to pick and choose your battles, of course, but you just want to avoid this stuff because I didn't put a note in here, but did you see the OSU boys, the two wide receivers, the college footballers?
I did hear about it over the weekend.
They were in a bar in the bathroom, and words are being exchanged, but unfortunately for them, they've run across some guys that, much shorter than them, much smaller boys, but amateur MMA fighters, as in guys that are professionally, been trained, and get the, I'd say they probably had 30 to 40 pounds on both these blokes, and they've had their asses absolutely handed to them.
Yeah, right.
So you got to remember as well, luckily for Norman and Segara and this, that they didn't run into, because you don't know the bloke. You could run into some absolute killers out there.
Yeah.
So 100%. You just got to be aware of your situations and aware of, even if you're getting abused and that sort of stuff, you just, I don't want to say turn the blind eye to it, but you just got to understand, position. You're always going to be a target, no matter, even if you're a white fella. Like you're always going to get attacked by dickheads. Like it just happens.
But
I can't give. I don't think we can give Norman advice in this period. Like I think you did the best in the situation you could. You got out there with everything intact. You can play football in a week's time.
Yeah.
I think the NRL probably should have backed you in this.
Definitely.
I agree.
It's hard to be in that situation. It's very reactive. Like you don't know.
Oh yeah,
you don't know what.
And you're outnumbered too. I think it was 2 against 6. Like, yeah, that's not a fair fight. Fuck these guys.
Is there there's no footage there of it, is there?
No, there's footage. I think if you scroll down, I think there's footage in Twitter. So yeah.
Anyways, I think the moral of the story is
hard done by.
Hard, yeah. We all think he's a little bit hard done by him.
Yeah, because let's jump into Tommy Turbo. So he's done his hammy. He's going to miss the first 3 weeks. Said he was got hurt in the shower, slipped in the shower. The night before, video comes out that he's, I think it was on Instagram, he's doing a sprint match with a fan down the middle of bloody Manly.
Quick whoever is
quick,
bloody quick.
Yeah, Tommy May gave him a little bit of a head start and had to get up to speed, but yeah, Tommy Turbo couldn't get the turbo going and got beaten in this. But again, like, I don't think it was like super late out on the town, but you're out in the town, fans are going to be like, hey, Tommy, have a race with me. Let's run down here. And Tommy's just like, oh, yeah, shit, yeah, I've had a few beers. Let's fucking go. Probably why he slipped over the shower.
Yeah, in the shower.
Yeah. He said, I didn't pull my hammy doing this. Like, it definitely happened afterwards. He's tried to clarify it, but it's not a great look for him, unfortunately.
No.
What was his good hammy as well, not his bad hammy that he's hurt.
And been ravished by these hamstring injuries.
Which is
as well.
Not great for him too, if it's his good hammy now getting hurt.
A little bit of a tough story here. Sammy Burgess.
And all sorts.
From bad to worse.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. So Monday, random drug test in the Southern Highlands returns a positive result.
For the cocaine.
For the coca. Also charged driving out of license, unregistered vehicle.
Yeah. Was on the way to pick his kids up.
He had a charge for intimidating his father-in-law, gone through a messy divorce.
Quick question for you. How long does coke stay in your system for?
I don't know off the top of my head. But
could have this been the previous night bender?
Definitely. Yeah. I imagine it's from the night before.
Yeah. I'm assuming he's not done a bump and then got in the car to go pick his kids up.
No.
I'm assuming he's out partying, probably spiraling out of control a little bit.
Yeah.
Doing some illicit drugs, and then the next day it's like, I'm feeling right. I'm going to pick the kids up, but it's still in my system.
No, and look, I don't want to be a fence sitter, but he's obviously broken the law. But I also feel
he's in a tough spot.
And you just kind of
it's not going to help
him to get everything right, and you want his the main thing is the kids.
Definitely,
100%. Feel for those. I think he's got two little girls, and
and the way that family's going through family court at the moment, it's not going to help his chances.
It's
realistically,
it's a bloody shit show, really.
The mother could very much go in and it's like, hey, look at this. I want full custody.
Yeah,
which is not going to help Sam at all. That's just going to spiral it more.
You just hope all parties can sort of.
His brothers, of course, have come out and support and said like he's a top bloke. He's in a tough spot at the moment.
Yeah.
Again, it's just one of those, one of those situations that just sucks that you get in as a human being.
Don't want to put fuel on the fire, and obviously wish Burgess all the best, but he was dropped from South Sydney back in October for.
Well, he stood down. I think then he kind of came back and was around the club, but he's definitely.
But again, it was drug related. So.
Well, no, he got stood down. What would he get stood down for? Was the case was coming up, and they said, "Why were you letting him still coach if the case?"
I think it was because he got charged with that intimidation.
I think it was around then, and then this has come out. So it's unfortunately for him, he can't be around Wayne, who I think is probably his rock at the moment. But he's got his brothers there.
I know
luckily his mum's here.
Him and Russell Crowe are very close as well.
So hopefully Souths can get around him and help him through this as best as possible.
Definitely.
He's due to face the Moss Vale Local Court May 4. See how that one unfolds. A good news story for South. Latrell Mitchell signs a 2-year deal at a cool $1.7 million. It's not bad money there in the NRL.
$850K a year.
He's only 23. People
when I read that he was 23, I was like, hasn't he been playing for like a decade? Like he's been around a hot middle.
He's got a wealth
Obviously,
of experience.
he started at 18, so he's probably 5 years deep at this point.
Can you have a look, Latrell Mitchell? He's played over 100 first grade games, hasn't he?
I'd say easy. If he's played 5 years, it's probably 150 at this point.
No, I'll say less than that, but I'd say over 100. And
this would be his 5th season on that math. So he's probably at 120-ish.
James will be able to tell us very shortly. He's obviously gotten paid.
111.
There you go.
Okay. Missed a few.
111 first grade games at the age of 23 is fucking impressive. So good on Latrell. Obviously, form been not quite what it was as that electrifying 20-year-old, 19-year-old, hoping he can find that form again. As a Dragons fan, I hope he doesn't, but as a fan of the game and the fan of the sport, I hope he does. And then Adam Reynolds.
The opposite. Yeah. Adam Reynolds can't get an extension on his deal.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Well, it's I think they've offered him. Well, he wants a 3-year deal. They've offered him only one more, and I think it's for decent money, but it's not premier money. I think he's also looking like, hey, I'm probably the 3rd best halfback in the league at the moment.
Top 5, I'll give him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I want to get paid as well. Knowing South's also brought Benji in that squad to help, I guess, mentor them. Like, I thought maybe it was because Reynolds had been hurt a bit. They didn't want to commit to him long term, but he played all the games last year. His kicking game phenomenal. One of the main reasons they were very high on the table and went deep into the finals. So only 30 years old. I think he turns 31 towards the end of the year. So not super old for halfback.
Still plenty of time.
Yeah, he could still play another 3 or 4. He could give him a 3-year deal. He could definitely see out the 3-year deal.
For sure.
I guess, what do you think he's worth? If we say he's top 5, because
elite halfbacks are getting $1 million a year.
Yeah, well, if you go through that list, you've got
DCE's on about 1.3.
Yeah, well, DCE and Cleary are probably your top 2.
1.2-ish. Ben Hunt's on bloody 1.2, 1.1.
Yeah, he's getting paid overs though. But he's not top 5. But if you say DCE and Cleary are your top 2 halfbacks.
Yeah, well then you'd say Adam Reynolds is worth 900.
Yeah, he's probably fits into in that 3, 4 or 5 range, depending on who you want to compete. You could pick and choose who of those 3 are. So he's probably in that range and looking to get that paid. But it doesn't sound like South's willing to pay that much and then commit to him for that length of time, because that's, say it's 9, that's a $2.7 million deal for 3 years.
Is he contracted till the end of the year? Do you know?
He's this season. I think so he's off contract at the end of the year. So he's like, hey, I want to stay. I want a long-term deal. I want to be, Souths for one club team.
Careerman.
Yeah. So hate to do it to Burgess again, but it's reported that Rabbitohs have learnt from their mistakes with Burgess and his 4-year contract where he retired 1 year in.
Yeah, but that's different though. He got hurt.
It is different, but
his body was fucked.
Yeah, that's what it's reported. Like the Rabbitohs are thinking, well, maybe he's turning 30. He's getting older. We don't want to.
Yeah, but he doesn't play in the forward pack though.
Yeah,
he's not making 40
That
plus
is
tackles
true.
and 20 odd hit ups a game.
It'd be interesting to see what happens there with Adam Reynolds. Last rugby league story, and this.
Well, there's plenty of clubs that would be out there looking to feel like they
definitely.
want Adam Reynolds.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
there's heaps of clubs that would be chasing him.
This is kind of makes me laugh, kind of makes me a little bit cranky.
Well, before you get in it, do you want me to clarify? So it was announced the league saved overall $65 million in operation. I think they worked it out. It was like $144 million or something was to run the league. And everyone was like, wow, that's a fuckload of money. So a part of, of course, COVID, they didn't make profit in this. They still had a loss. But I think what they were expecting, I think it was meant to be like 89 or like close to 90 odd mil difference. They managed to save 65 mil, of course, bringing that gap down.
So they lost about 30.
Yeah. And I think they did other stuff as well to then kind of cover it. So, of course, they're trying to make sure the league didn't go broke.
Yep.
Was the main thing. But most of the 65 million was done from cutting staff, cutting existing wages, trying to, bring it all down and consolidate. So to the point where, hey, we can then have a league this year and then, of course, try to build the funds up. There was the whole talk about the start of last season. There's like, where's the treasure chest? Why haven't they been storing money away for however long? So that, hey, the rainy day money, when this sort of thing happens, that you need to then, pull money out of your ass, that you've got money there. Of course, the league's been spending money left, right and centre. I think it's probably a bit of a credit to Volandis coming in that they've cut the league back so much to save money that maybe, it sucks. I guess it sucks for all the people that lost their jobs in this process. But maybe this now can then help for the next decade, put the rugby league in a spot where it's then more profitable, where they can employ more people and have more jobs long term.
That'll do it for rugby league for this week. Let's go
South.
Yeah,
South-ish.
south-ish, I guess.
South-ish.
Southwest-ish.
Stay on the east.
Ron Barassi line. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one. Have I explained that to you just before? It's pretty much like a line. It's a bit rough, but goes like diagonally through Australia and splits it into rugby league and AFL territory. So, starting...
That makes sense.
Yeah, so you pretty much get New South Wales, ACT, Queensland in it, and then the Southwest. Anyways, Google Ron Barassi line. I swear I didn't make it up.
Before we get into the AFL, let's probably give an update in India. So Patel got another wicket. So England are now 26 for 3. The ball is absolutely turning and bouncing all over the place.
So they trail by 7 here with 7 wickets in hand.
Yes.
This test match is going to be over
Tonight.
And if not tonight, definitely on day 3.
Definitely.
Because Ashwin's getting so much variable bounce. Like that stays down. The previous one almost went over Pants head. So and it's turning. Like there's a foot, 2 feet.
It's an absolute monstrosity of a deck. Let's be honest.
Yeah, for a day 2 pitch. If this match is done by day 2, you can say, well, this pitch is probably not real great.
There you go. Stokes still looking to attack.
Good thing for England is they've got the 2 best batsmen in there at the moment. Let's hope they can stay there and put on a bit of score so India have something they can chase versus the 3-run lead they currently have. AFL. So one of the stories came out during the week, Hugh McLuggage, the luggage, he signed on for another 3 years at Brisbane, keeping that core nucleus of players in the club. Of course, McLuggage was Brisbane's first pick 4 years ago now, I think it was.
Yeah, developing into a really good footballer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He filled his role very much and now trying to excel into, elite status.
Yep.
Especially with a lot of the Brisbane boys coming through from that, from those couple of drafts around McLuggage as well.
Yeah, probably at that
trying to move
that good status at the moment, trying to go to elite.
Yeah. And as we talked, in their window very much, they want to capitalise on the window they're in. They've got the team there. I think this kind of speaks well to the coach re-signed last week. McLaren Luggage has seen, hey, the coach is committed to Brisbane. I'm going to commit to Brisbane as well. So I think they're going to try and keep that core nucleus around. No inside scoops at this point, but I'd say the Berry boys, I think both Jared and Thomas have extended last year or the year before. So I think they're both around for another 2 years at Brisbane after this season. So they're guys that came in all together, trying to keep that Brisbane nucleus together.
Let's have a look at the new man on the mark rule. So they've.
I thought that was interesting because to clarify, teams are playing inter club games at the moment.
There's some intro and then some where they're at. I think Carlton and Essendon have got a game scheduled.
Exactly. So as part of that, they've got the umpies there to officiate those games, so they can actually then try out some of these new rules, and it's quite interesting. I think this is probably the main one, and it may affect the season. I think they're going to blow this a lot to start the year. They're going to clamp it down so they can get it, clear that, hey, this is the rule going forward, and hopefully it eases off towards the end of the season as guys get more comfortable with it. Do you want to cover what the new rule is?
Yeah, so essentially the man on the mark is effectively banned from moving side to side. They're going to allow a tiny bit of lateral movement.
Well, in the intra-cup games, they haven't allowed any movement at this point. It's been pretty rough.
Yeah, so then they hand out a 50-metre penalty.
And a free 50 from it is rough too.
So if the man on the marks is shifted too far left or right, 50-metre penalty. What does this mean for the game going forward? I tell you what, for big, slow morons like me, it's very difficult because if there's a ruckman or a slower player standing there on the mark and you've got your jet, winger or midfielder that's got the footy, you just take them on. Do you know what I mean? You can't move laterally to anticipate and to sort of jockey. Which
I think is kind of the problem from what I've seen from some of the intra-cup games is guys that are, if they've taken the mark and they're going to kick the ball, they've got a guy on the mark. As he's going to kick the ball, say he drifts right or left to then takes 2 or 3 steps to kick the ball. Guy on the mark, out of habit, drifts with him, moves 2 feet.
And they've been blowing the whistle.
Blowing the whistle and saying, hey, you've moved off the mark. And he was like, well, that's a bit rough. I'd say that's a bit rough. Yeah. If you're, dicking around, running back and forth, multiple meters, bouncing up and down on the mark, I could understand, hey, you're just getting the rules here. You're off the mark.
It seems like...
But I'd say if the bloke's moving, he's kind of moving where the mark is. So I think we'll see. Have to see how
it plays out.
Yeah, have to see how it goes in the start of the season.
Yeah,
how strict they are. Maybe they're being overly strict with it in these.
Just try and get it in their heads.
Exactly, in their heads that, hey, this is the rule. We're going to be blowing it. We'll blow it heaps now. So then when we get into week 1, 2, and 3, that we can blow it less.
Wonder why, dude? Think to try and speed up the game.
I don't know.
Have more guys taken.
Honestly,
I was going to ask,
what is this? What problem? What problems is this solving?
Yeah, I don't know. If it's not broken, don't fix it. That's what I would have thought. I imagine the idea is to make it even faster and, given guys...
Puts it in the hands of maybe the speed guys that they can get off their mark and get away. And, I don't know. Maybe it's they're sick of guys on the mark, going left and right, trying to put the kicker off, trying to kick
sort
goals.
Of go with it. Like a guy that's got the kick and...
Well, he's going to take his time. He's got his routine anyway.
Yeah, but then
if kicking for goal though, but in the middle of the pitch, it's different.
Yeah, they generally. It depends on the situation, but but the thing is, in the past, you got a guy on the mark here, and then this guy's got the kick. He can take off 90 degrees to the right, 90 degrees to the left. He can try and take you on.
Yeah,
and outside
what's wrong with just being able to jockey on the mark like that?
Yeah,
I think it's a dumb rule.
Yeah, outside of kicking for goal, the guy who's taking the mark, he's kicking anywhere he wants.
And he can take you on top of that.
Yeah.
So
I've completely forgotten Cameron's last name, the Brisbane Lions forward.
Rayner.
No. Oh, not Cameron Rayner. Who am I thinking of? Oh, Charlie Cameron. That's
Charlie.
I'm thinking of Cameron. I've got the right one.
Yes.
Cameron. I think this rule highly benefits him.
Oh yeah.
Because if you got a big defender on the mark, you're going to go,
Charlie's going, Sam, you can't move, and he's past you before you can blink an eye.
I can have 2 or 3 steps, feign I'm going to kick this, and then I'm taking off.
Yep.
You can't move, and I'm away. And I've already created separation from you. Yeah. Goal time. So I'd be interested to see how Charlie Cameron goes.
Just
if he's scoring 5-6 goals every week in the start of the season, you'd be like, oh, maybe this rule's not real great.
I'd be interested to see how many marks he takes in the inside 50 to be.
Good point. He's not a leaper.
I do see what you mean.
Yeah.
I think it does give the advantage to the guy with the footy. We'll see how it plays out.
But I guess if you think more midfield, those smaller midfielders around the ruckman, if you're one-on-one, you're small and he's big, you're quick, he's slow.
Yeah, take
exactly. Yeah. You're like, I now have 100% have benefit to take him on versus, I need to make a kick here.
Yep. All right. The Crows infighting. You see this second year in a row. They've had an intra-club. So last year...
It's Adelaide. You're lucky no knives were pulled.
Last year it was Billy Frampton and Kyle Hartigan going at it. This one, did you boys see the footage?
I've seen the video.
Yeah, saw the footage.
Yeah. So essentially Wayne Millera, he trips Jake Kelly. He's tackled Kelly.
Yeah.
They both get up.
Millera, I think, did Kelly have the ball and he's handballed it on? He's released it?
The ball's long gone. Yeah, the ball's long gone. And then, so they've both sort of gotten up from the tackle.
On their way up.
And Jake Kelly's just taken that first or second step to follow the footy. And you can see Wayne's deliberately put out his right foot.
Yeah. He not even put it out. He's kicked. He actually looks like he's kicked his legs out. He's flicked his leg. It's a kick.
Took his feet out. I don't know. In the moment, maybe you think, it's a teammate. Who cares? Rah, rah. Jake Kelly comes out fired up, and there was
he gets up and he's grabbing he's
a little bit of jump punching, niggly. No, there's nothing serious in it. There wasn't big haymakers or anything.
They weren't throwing hands reckless abandonment.
And there was the last few seconds of the intra-club as well. So I think after the game there's photos of them, having a little cuddle and that. Yeah. But 2 years in a row, you start thinking, is it a Crows thing? Is it a culture thing?
Because preseason and training usually happens behind closed doors. Fighting is not uncommon in preseason. I think it's especially when
we go back to the NFL.
Well, yeah, if we pick an NFL, there's a lot of fighting. There's a lot more blokes on a team, but even still, it's where you build chemistry. It's where you might not like an aspect of what this bloke does. Sometimes, yes, you need to get in his face, throw hands a little bit, team separate you, but it builds chemistry, it builds camaraderie a little bit. It's like, hey, I've got this problem with you, let's sort it out here and now versus let's let it go through the season. So I'm not too worried about it. Would not surprise me if Kelly has had an absolute blinder in this club game and Wayne's just super frustrated. He's been beaten off the park and he's just like, well, I'm just going to, be a little bit of dick here. Maybe thought it was be funny, and Kelly's just like, hey, don't kick my legs out. You've been an absolute cunt in this process.
Yep.
So, they're club mates, and, after the game, they've settled down and heat of the battle, that kind of sort of stuff. But, yeah.
I think the big difference between this and, the pre-seasons that I've played as an amateur loser footballer, there's a lot of money on the line. There's your reputation. You want to constantly be...
Well, you're fighting for a spot in this game.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like you're playing with a bunch of blokes that you went to school with and, that you like, always having beers with after the game and whatever. It's a business. It's a competition. You're constantly competing.
Which is what makes me think that maybe Wayne is frustrated in this.
Yeah.
He's been beaten up and down the park in this game and he's, brain snap. Just done something stupid.
Yep.
I absolutely guarantee the coaches handed him his ass after this game and said, hey, that's not on. That's not our culture.
Yeah.
Go apologise. Let's go make this right.
Yep.
Because, they, they've got a couple of cameras. They probably hope it didn't get out with the understanding that, hey, maybe it does get out. But, it's not a great look for the Crows, who didn't do overly well last year.
No, they were wooden spooners, were they not?
Yes.
They did win their last two games. So we've got Joe Root here.
Finish up the AFL. Let's talk about Root. So that's AFL for the week.
Well, there was. Do you want to cover Danny Flora?
Oh yes, let's cover this. Yeah,
and it's a sad one, and we've touched on it here on the Esky before. So Danny Frawley obviously drove his car high speed.
Yeah, took his own life.
It's suspected. Yeah. That's
not in the right frame of mind.
No, can't be sure, but he was suffering from insomnia, depression, unmotivated.
Mental illness, he's hit the trifecta, unfortunately.
Yeah, prior to his death, and
so this was back in 2019 as well.
Yeah, yeah. So the coroner report became public, and it's a CTE diagnosis. And
what decade did Frawley play in? 90s,
80s mostly.
80s,
yeah. So 1984 through to 1995.
Both.
Yeah.
Not. I don't want to say it's not unsurprising, but the wild
west
of the 90s and 80s
it was
in professional sport.
Yeah, you watch footage from back then, and it was rough as fuck. And not that these guys, the guys playing these days won't be susceptible to something like this, but it's just more and more of it coming out. And
well, I think for a long time across all sports, defence had, I don't want to say free reign, but a lot more leeway in the rules.
A lot,
and in the last 2 decades, nearly all sports have tried to bring the rules back in. Like you can see,
make it safer.
Like you can see the difference in soccer from where it was to Brazil at the World Cup, allegedly.
Not just Brazil, mate. Everyone.
Everyone taking dives like all of a sudden because they're just getting penalties. Like you can see the change.
They try to protect people more and more.
Exactly. It's more offensive based.
Maybe that is a good thing. We don't need to go to the diving aspect of sport.
Poor comparison, but nearly all sports gone offensive focus.
Yeah,
points bring in fans.
Yes,
let's get scores. Let's
protect the ball carrier.
And protect the premier players from long-term injuries, because if they're not on the field, they're not technically making us money.
Yes. Anyways.
Yeah,
but it's
tangent aside, it's bloody sad, and
definitely
it's something that we've spoken about before. We hope there's a lot of money and smart people looking into this horrible disease and trying to prevent it.
Yeah, so I'm not sure who did you bring this up, James? Who was actually advocating that for retired AFL players to submit your brains for research, of course, after your passing, because I can't remember. I don't think it was the leagues putting it out. I think someone, I can't remember who, but someone made the recommendation that, hey, if as part of, if you're going to be an organ donor, as part of signing up to that, say, hey, I wanted my brain to be for CTE or for research in general. Just so the more data, the more research points we can get, maybe, in a decade's time, we can sort out all the concussions to the point where we've got full treatment plans or prevention to the point where it doesn't happen again.
Well, I suppose the prevention is stop playing contact sport. Like it's I don't know. It's a bloody tricky one, because obviously we love the AFL, we love the NRL, we love the NFL.
But the other thing is we love technology. So it's whether can you marry the two? Is there something, the NFL, of course, helmet's different, but
makes it worse.
But it's not to say that you can't also make it better. Headgear, could headgear also?
Again, I don't.
I'm talking technology. So we're like a decade away, maybe more.
More, I'd say.
Can you do something that from an impact, like even from small impacts, the brain banging in on its skull, can we minimize that long-term damage so this is not a problem?
Well, going back to headgear, I don't think that solves anything, because it's
NFL is the perfect example of headgear.
Well, headgear was brought in because they had too many skull fractures, so that's why they brought it in. It's like, hey, everyone's getting fucking skull fractures. Skull fractures are bad. Let's get helmets. They started with leather helmets and then brought it in for more detail helmets. Problem with the NFL is everyone started getting massive. Like the players got bigger and bigger, more weight behind it, more force. We're talking physics now, so the more force behind it. Helmets then became more of a weapon. But of course, the core point of the helmet was focused on skull fractures, preventing skull fractures. It's really fucking good at doing that. What it's not great at is preventing concussions.
Yeah.
Which
is the brain moving in the fluid inside your skull. And
and even little ones like repeated hits and
repeated little
so that's
ones.
what the research can say only in the last maybe 5 years. I'd spread it out, say decade, but I think really in the last 5 years it's been core that research is focused on how do we use this technology, how can we use the helmets. So that's why the padding's changed from hard foam to gel to how can we change the face mask so the face mask absorbs the impact. They're literally doing the same sort of science they do on car crash on crumple zones in cars. But how would you put that in helmets? Like for the same thing. So how do we move that impact so it actually doesn't affect the brain in the skull, that it's all absorbed in the helmet? So, we're here. I'm hoping 10 years, 20 years.
Yep.
Same with cricket. Like, they want to take the bouncer out. Fuck that. Like, let's work out how we can make helmets safer.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you're worried about hitting jugglers in the neck, all right, why aren't we wearing fucking NFL helmets in cricket? As an example, that covers more of your neck area in the process. Like,
and you did see after the death of Phil Hughes, that back little flap come into the helmets, and you hope the technology just keeps improving that we can keep the grunt.
So I think that's the point of what we're trying to. The point. Sorry to talk over you. I think that's the point we're trying to get into the story is like the more guys that submit stuff to research, the more the people that want to be involved in research beforehand, the more. And I don't want to say it's big business, but we want people in around sport that are trying to address these problems versus trying to sell merch. Like jersey sales. It's like, hey, let's get invested in the science of sport so we can better protect the athletes and we're better, let's sell the greatest helmet of all time in cricket. And then we can say, we're never going to have a Phil Hughes incident again because we've got total prevention. So,
I think to that point, it's a little bit of both. So you need to understand what's causing it and maybe change your technique in terms of how you play the game.
Rules help that as well to facilitate that process.
And then look into like, all right, how can we manage this from a equipment perspective, like headgear or...
And we were talking about young fellas before, like, would you want to put your young fella into like a high contact sport like this? Yeah, you definitely have concern. Like we all played contact sports, so we're probably... in the minority now, but it's not to say that our partners wouldn't be like, no, I don't want little Johnny playing contact sport because I've seen what happened to you three boys. We want a bright future for him. But like for me, I'd say like, hey, I'm happy if you want to play rugby league or AFL, but let's go look at headgear down at whatever. Actually, Sports Warehouse I don't think exists anymore.
Rebel, I think.
Yeah, Rebel Sport. That's shout out Rebel. Let's go down to Rebel and have a look at what headgear we can get for you, just because that gives me a bit more confidence. And you might look shit, you're not cool like everyone else, but that's important because unless you're a long-term superstar, you're probably going to need that thing. If you want to make it deep into past 70s in towards trying to get your century, like that's what we want to aim for. And then you talk about if we don't go that avenue, what sports are we looking at? The individual sports, golf, tennis, non-contact things, less contact things, soccer, which more cardio. Then you probably go say maybe more AFL because they're trying to take a lot of the bumps out of it, more cardio based, and then you get into the hard contacts. And I threw out car racing because they do invest shitloads in trying to protect
and it's
people.
getting a lot safer.
It's a lot safer than it was compared to again, go back to noughties, very dangerous.
And before that, it was like, a death a season type thing.
Yes, exactly. Whereas now there's, very rare. I think they had one death in the last, I'm talking F1 kind of comparison. I think they had only, in the majors, they had one in like the last decade. Like it's yes, there's crashes, yes, there's injuries, but you see, I remember Mark Webber, like he hit the back of a car and got 20 feet in the air, flipped over, landed on it, walked away, nothing. That's if you can apply that science that they've got in F1 and how they've protected the guys from when Senna took had his big crash and of course passed away. The difference from there to here, take that, apply to contact sports.
But then again as well, that example with Webber, it's amazing, and you see some of these crashes where you're just like, okay, they should be dead.
Take Grosjean at the end of last year, his car split in half, fireball, walks away, burnt his hands a little bit. Rest of him fine.
But
There
then,
was that,
but then that impact. We're talking about CTE 20 years down the track, 30 years down the track.
Sure.
You know, you might have saved their lives acutely, but then in the chronic, long-term game, you know, maybe that is
Still
doing
hard to
massive
tell.
damage.
Sure.
It's a pickle, isn't it? There's two things you got to be thankful for. I think one is that the people that are a lot smarter than us that are researching this and putting their time and their lives into it, and two, the bloody warriors that go out there and that play rugby league and American football and you know, AFL and all these gladiator games that, you know, and we get to sit around and watch and follow and criticize and do whatever from our lounge room. So just got to be thankful for the scientists and the players, and hopefully we just keep going in the right direction.
Can I make one more comment? I want to call out commentary in this. I want to call out Gus Gould and like Paul Vaughan. Sorry to pick on you two, but as great examples, you know, I don't want to say they're complete fuckwits in this regard, but you know,
Tell me how you really feel.
it doesn't help. You know, they always talk about the old boys.
The glory days.
Back in the day.
Well, you know, someone takes a head knock in a game and they're on commentary and they go, "Oh, it's like, oh, you know, if this is 90s, he wouldn't go off." And he's like, "Hey, if he wants to come back on, like, let's let him play, let the boys play," and all that sort of stuff. And it's like,
well, was it Patrick Mahomes in?
Yeah.
Was it a playoff game?
Yeah, Andy Reid said the same
Reid
thing.
said,
like, if this was 10 years ago, he would have played. Like, you're not helping the situation.
Yeah, fuck that attitude off.
Oh, exactly. Because the understanding is they're in a situation where they probably can't make the best decision for themselves.
No, yeah.
You have to take that decision out of their hands because you're trying to protect them. Like, honestly, like it's the concussions and the amount. Troy Aikman as an example, when cross sports again, you know, he double digits, if you know, a lot of concussions, and lucky for Troy, he's more than enough coherent. His commentary is great in that regard. But edge case, you know, concussions and these guys getting the concussions, from you see the research, you see the history, it's not a good thing.
Nope.
And having commentary and having the old boys on was like, oh,
it doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't help at all. It's just like, instead of, you see a guy get a head knock, instead of going, oh, he should be right, or, you know, let him play on, let the boys play, he's just like, get him off.
Yeah.
He's had a head knock, get him off, get him assessed.
And
They should be pushing the agenda.
As you mentioned before, the game's changed. Like, guys are getting bigger, guys are getting stronger, guys are hitting harder. It's not the same as it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
And you take someone like Boyd Colliner, James Maloney, who in the last 2 years both have had multiple concussions throughout the year. It's like, yes, they're probably good and they come back and they're healthy. But, you know, they get another concussion in the game and they're like, oh, he's got for 10 minutes. It's like, oh, I hope he comes back and all that sort of stuff. I'm the opposite. It's like, oh, he's had another concussion. Sit him the fuck down.
Yeah. If you want to be tough, play through a dislocated finger or you know,
if you break a bone, like that's playable.
And that's
bones heal, your brain doesn't.
Yep. Yeah. So it's definitely something that I'm sure we'll be talking about again on this podcast.
Be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Yeah. But I think it's important to at least have the conversation and hopefully as sports lovers and as a society, you know, we move forward.
Agreed.
All right, going over to another gladiator sport. Shall we cross
International?
the ditch and talk about the NFL? Obviously, in the few weeks post Super Bowl, few player movements.
I think we're 3 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I think there's
two and
two
a half,
more full weeks. Yeah, the end of this week and 2 more weeks before free agency starts. So a lot of teams gearing up for free agency. Yeah.
So before we start, I guess, following on our AFL chat for those who are continuously listening through our podcast, Vinnie Jackson, his family, don't know if we covered it last week, but his family's decided to donate his brain to CTE research, Boston University. So
I don't think anything more has come out from the sheriff on like a coroner. Whether they release that or not is another question. Maybe his family would want to release that so it's out in the public so people can know, you know, what happened. I think it'd be very unfortunate if he's had like a heart attack or a brain aneurysm or something like that, where it's just freak and he's passed away. I think I don't want to say it helps the situation, but it, putting it out there again, be part of the solution, not the problem. Like, hey, yeah, maybe it was an overdose or something like that, a suicide. Like, let's be part of the positive that can come from this, and let's get talking about it. Thank you, James. I think finishing up from the last podcast, talking about NFL, we talked about where Wentz would go, that he didn't want to go to Bears, the Colts seemed more likely. I think we said Colts had offered, and it was rumoured, I think two seconds. But officially Wentz got traded, I think like 8 hours after we did the podcast, to the Colts for a second round. And was the second round conditional, or was it a third that became a second? I can't remember.
So I think the third round is locked, and then there's the second round, which is a conditional pick. It can become a first round pick if he plays more than 75% of the offensive snaps. So if
which you'd think he'd probably do.
Unless he gets injured, yeah.
Unless he gets injured, I don't think Jacob's going to beat him out for that first job. I think they're thinking he's going to be their backup.
Who's that?
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, Brissett, yeah.
Yeah, you'd think Carson Wentz probably is the preferred starter there.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. We've spoken about the Colts before. They've got a brilliant defense. Their offensive line is really good.
I think this is a solid investment for them too.
I think so too. Carson obviously had...
keep your first round this year and
he had
spend that on some maybe wide receiver talent.
Yeah, there's somewhere they could improve for sure is wide receiver and maybe their secondary. I know their front seven is very good. So there's some ideas there. I spoke about it last week. I said Carson Wentz obviously is coming off an absolute garbage season, but he went 11-2 3 years ago. That year that they went to the Super Bowl and won.
We're hoping for a bounce
then
back,
and then was injured the year after that. So yeah, he's only had one really poor season. Would love to see him bounce back there in Indianapolis.
Be really interested to see how it goes there.
Yeah,
I'm thinking then. I'm going to say now, current team with Wentz on it, not a playoff team. Big call. I think I'll see how they draft.
Okay, that's interesting. So you're saying that
I think they'll miss out.
That a 41-year-old Philip Rivers is better than in his prime Carson Wentz?
Than current Carson Wentz?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
that's a fair shout.
You're talking about a possible future Hall of Famer versus a guy that hasn't played well in 2 years.
Okay. So. Yeah. I think that's fair.
Just made the connection as well. So Carson Wentz is connecting back up with Frank Reich.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
From back in those days. So, I mean, very pivotal in Wentz's early performance and career. So
needs to fix him.
Yeah.
My tip is they do make the playoffs because Houston will be a hot pile of garbage. I think Jacksonville will be improved, but I don't think they'll be a playoff team. It'll just be a 2-horse race there in the AFC South. And obviously the Titans and Colts were both able to make the playoffs this year, so I think they'll be thereabouts. Other quarterback news, Sam Darnold, what's going on there?
Well, it sounds like the Jets are going to make him available, which not unsurprising. They've got the second pick and they're probably picking quarterback, whether that's Fields, Wilson, or Lance.
Assuming Trevor Lawrence is taken.
Yeah, Lawrence is, I think Lawrence is going one.
Yep. Yeah, he's a lock.
Lawrence is going one.
He's a lock. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think Jacksonville's going to do anything. They shouldn't do anything stupid. If they do, they should forever be the shit franchise they currently are. But it sounds like Donald will be available. I think he's 23 from memory, maybe going 24.
Yeah, he's not old.
He's young, so he's still got his prime ahead of him. Looks like Jets might be only looking for a second round to take him on. So, yeah, it could be a rebuild project for someone maybe like the Patriots.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe the Patriots might be a good fit.
Yeah.
If anyone can...
Because I don't think they're going to bring Cam back.
After the season.
Cam, I think came out during the week and said he's happy. I want to come back.
Yeah, after the season Cam had, I'd highly doubt that. If there's any team that can take a sort of mediocre-ish guy and turn him into a superstar, it's the Patriots with Bill Belichick. So, yeah,
what are you saying about TB12?
He was 199th pick. Sam Darnold was a number 2 overall pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
he was number 2, wasn't he, Sam Darnold?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was 2.
Did anyone see Cam Newton's
Actually, no, he's
Instagram
3.
this week?
Negative.
Oh, well, getting. You talking about the camp that he ran?
Yeah, the camp. So he was running wouldn't have been a quarter. What is a quarterback camp?
Oh, Cam
was
was running a football camp.
Football camp.
Let's go with that.
And
high schoolers.
Yeah, these high schoolers. Well, one high schooler in particular was giving him shit about.
Decided to draw Cam.
Yeah,
so former MVP,
12-year-old
went to a fucking Super Bowl,
going ham on Cam.
How did Cam take it?
I think he gave his fair share back.
He did.
He's like, put some respect on my name.
Yeah,
that's it. I
that's
think
fair. Is it, like you say, MVP? Less than 4 years ago, 5 years ago,
2015.
Yeah, that's bold out of a 12-year-old kid.
Went to the Super Bowl, like.
Mind you, we don't mind shitting on guys when they're out of form. But
he still scored 22 touchdowns, I think, in total, 10 passing and 12 on the ground.
Yeah, so he had the most rushing touchdowns for a quarterback this season. So he's not done yet.
Yeah, he's got some ability. Whether
hope a team picks him up.
Yeah.
Maybe he stays in New England. Like he's on a cheap deal at the moment as a backup.
Mentor type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
As we speak, Joe Root is out. England 5 for 56. This test match.
Yeah, they lost another one just before that as well. Ashwin got 1 so far and Patel's got 4.
Jeez, so 10 for in the match already for Akshar Patel. He's getting a little pat on the back there.
England...
they lead by 23, so they are in deep doo-doo here. And I hope whoever's making this pitch takes a good hard look at themselves. Wouldn't mind test matches going longer than 2 and a bit days.
Some other quarterback news going back to the NFL as folks comes out to the crease. Jimmy G, John Lynch came out during the week and said, I really believe that Jimmy G will be the starter, and he's a GM. So I don't think Lynch may be a pseudo GM over there, but I think he gets some calls. For that team. So it sounds like Jimmy G's probably staying put.
I'd say so.
They really like him when he's healthy. The caveat, of course, is when he's healthy.
That's right.
So hopefully he should bounce back this year.
Hoping so. Kenny Golladay, what's the go there, Sean?
Well, he's number 1 receiver for the Lions. Like he's talented, really good. I think the Lions are in trouble cap-wise. They've just taken on Goff's massive contract, which is a big number. The salary cap is minimum 180 mil. I think I can't remember if they're going to be a final decision on that. That's the minimum, 180. Max might be like 185, but it's in that ballpark. Of course, that's 20 to 15 mil less than it was last year. So guys are going to miss out. We talked about Robinson probably missing out with the Bears because he wants to get paid. Galloway probably looking to get paid as well because I think his deal it's either up or it's got to like this year. Again, premier wide receiver, had top 10 kind of numbers. Lions may want to get something for him, so it looks like he may be on the market for possibly a second rounder, which is, I'd say, awesome value for Kenny. Like he's
Packers
again, another guy. Robinson.
You really
Galloway.
just want someone at the Packers, don't you?
Aaron Rodgers needs a fucking wide receiver.
That said, I'd like the improvements out of MVS and Alan Lazard this year. So
yes,
we'll see what happens there. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers,
he
got engaged to Shailene Woodley. I wasn't aware of her, but apparently she's quite not famous actress, but accomplished.
Yes.
29-year-old of Divergent, Big Little Lies fame.
Yeah, Divergent being, why are we talking about movies? Being a bloody Hunger Games ripoff. Did a whole trilogy. There's like 3 or 4 movies of it. She's the lead, of course, in that.
Okay.
Bit of not a star, but, bit of an up-and-comer. I don't think she's done anything massive outside of that, but...
Yeah,
shit all over
our
Woodley.
Tell how many movies shit we've watched.
Yeah, well, with her in it, unfortunately.
No.
Yeah.
So, big news for Rodgers. Obviously.
Congratulations, probably in order.
Yeah,
winning MVP, getting engaged.
Yeah, 37, going on 38.
Been a bit unlucky in love in the past.
Went out with that race car driver, didn't he?
Yeah,
Danica Patrick.
Patrick or...
That's her name.
I think it's Danny Patrick. Yeah. Oliver Moon before that, another actress.
Yep.
I think he was engaged to her as well. So he's been a bit unlucky in love of late. So I guess congrats, definitely in order, being engaged. Kept this very quiet, of course, Aaron Rodgers being a very private person. It's only come out in a couple of weeks, but they said they've been engaged for quite a while.
Yeah, revealed that on Jimmy Fallon, didn't
Yeah, of course, both been focusing on their careers a little bit, trying to do a Super Bowl run for Aaron and trying to make movies for Woodley. So, congrats.
Congrats, yeah.
Yeah.
Last little bit of NFL news. Mike Iupati, the big centre.
Massive centre.
11 years as
Samoan,
a pro.
I think, from memory.
Yeah, American Samoan. And
That's the
I'm
one.
going to get to that point in a second. He had 4 Pro Bowls with the 49ers, Cardinals, and Seahawks. He's an NFC West careerman. American Samoa, population 47,000. It's like half of Tuggeranong, where we're broadcasting from here in the beautiful ACT. They've had 37 guys play in the league. There's 4 currently. Domata Pico comes to mind. He's that big D tackle. He played for the Bengals for a long time.
Played for them for a little bit.
Yeah, he's at the Cards. The Cards now.
I think he's probably 15 or 16 years deep at this point. Like,
Yeah.
he's been around a long time.
Indeed. Mike Wapati, probably the most accomplished guy from American Samoa, but unbelievable that they've been able to produce that many guys, make it into the league with that tiny little population.
Good conversion rate.
And again, Samoans, you see it here in the rugby league, tiny population compared to the rest of Australia. And I think I'm having a stab here, but what do you reckon in the NRL these days? It's probably 40% Pacific Islander between
I'd be up there.
between Maoris, Samoans, and Tongans. Unbelievable conversion rate from their population.
Well,
obviously genetically very gifted. Tend to be very big, strong dudes.
Yeah, you think of the NFL, like there's populations, 330, 350 mil at the moment.
Oh, in America, yeah.
And there's 3,000 and something odd blokes playing NFL
Currently,
Currently.
at any one time.
Yeah. So from, do that math and then you look at, 47,000 and
tiny-
we got 37
Yeah.
guys in there. Like it's, that's impressive.
Yeah, unbelievable. So an absolute breeding ground for NFL players there in American
their big
Samoa. And Michael Party might be the most accomplished one. So congrats on a stellar career.
Yep.
So I think the only other kind of note out of this is, like we said, a bunch of teams are releasing and getting guys prepared. I know Williams, the wide receiver from the Raiders, got released today, had a 10 mil cap hit. So, of course, trying to clear money from him. I think he only had like 46 grabs in the 40s this year, so not a great stellar season for him. So probably been paid overs. But it looks like there'll be a lot of movement coming in a couple of weeks.
Try and keep all on top of that on the Esky.
Let's talk about this NBA and this All-Stars team.
Yeah.
I think the All-Stars is probably the most important thing to talk about in the NBA at the moment because they've just announced the list for starters. Do you want to run through it?
So the starters were named maybe 3 or 4 days ago and the reserves only named yesterday.
Yep.
In the East, both these teams, unbelievable.
Oh, stacked.
So in the East, Bradley Beal, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, the Greek Freak, and Joel Embiid. Up against the West, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, LeBron James,
Some guy called LeBron James.
Kawhi Leonard, and Nikola Jokic. Let's just look at those starters. How do you think they compare? Is there a clear favourite?
I'd pick West.
You like the West? Well, I think...
Yes, I like the West. Yeah, LeBron, Curry, and Leonard. And then
Yeah.
I got Jokic as centre. I'm like, ooh, that's pretty fucking good.
Let's try and break down each one. You take Steph over Bradley Beal. No disrespect to Bradley Beal. He's been unreal. He might be the highest average point scorer in the league to date.
Yeah, but Steph Curry, I think...
I'm probably taking Luka over Kyrie.
Yeah.
This is tough, but I'm probably taking LeBron over...
You got to take LeBron.
over KD, and then let's call the Greek Freak and Kawhi a scratch, and let's call Joel and Jokic a scratch. I think the starters, maybe the West, just have that edge, and I think as well, if you look at the records, I think that the West teams are faring a lot better than the East teams, as has been the case over the last few years. Let's get into the reserves, and there's a few debutants to note. Jaylen Brown of the Celtics getting his first All-Star gig. James Harden, pretty handy guy to have coming off the bench. Zach Levine, also his first time, as well as Julius Randle from the Knicks. So congrats to them. Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, and Nikola Vucevic coming off the bench there in the East. And then, again, comparing to the West, no disrespect against those guys, but there's some stellar names here. Anthony Davis, we'll get to in a second. Paul George, Rudy Gobert, Damian Lillard, Donovan Spider-Mitchell, CP3, and Zion Williamson getting his first gig. I think, for mine, I like the West, just that touch more depth there than the East. So LeBron is third all time now in NBA All-Star appearances. That surprised me with 17. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had 19. So he had a 20-year career. He missed the All-Star game once in 1973.
So this is LeBron's 18th year, isn't it? So did he miss one somewhere?
I believe, he might have missed one.
Wow.
And then Kobe Bryant is second on that list with 18. The way LeBron's going, you'd say he at least equals Kobe.
If he keeps playing, yeah.
And probably equals Kareem, if not goes past Kareem.
Yep.
Were there any snubs?
Big time.
Trae Young, a few guys came out. I think LeBron tweeted about... LeBron tweeted about Devin Booker, but a lot of guys did tweet about Trae.
Yep.
At the Hawks, he's averaging 27, 4 and 10 assists a game. So really a stellar point guard. You'd say, I suppose the argument is, who would you have him ahead of?
Yeah.
Perhaps Jaylen Brown, perhaps Jason Tatum. One to consider there. And then I think it was Kendrick Perkins that was tweeting saying about the disrespect to Domantas Sabonis, the big Lithuanian. He's averaging 22, 12 boards and 6 assists. He's playing 36 minutes a game, which is pretty unreal for a big man. Again, who do you have him ahead of? Maybe Vucevic? Yeah, possibly there. In the West, we did have Devin Booker down here as a snub. LeBron tweeted saying he's the most disrespected man in the league. He's averaging 25 points a game, 4 boards, 4 dimes. They're pretty much identical numbers to Donovan Mitchell and much better numbers than his son's teammate CP3. Comes out that he's in and Anthony Davis is out. Was that an injury thing? Did you catch that?
Yeah, and Macca mentioned it last week. Anthony Davis is managing his Achilles at the moment.
Okay, yep.
I'd say maybe that's part of that. He's looking for a bit of rest. So, of course, Davis out, and then they slot Booker straight in. So, correcting...
unusual as well.
Yeah, correcting the snub a little bit.
Big man out and guard goes in. But congratulations to Devin Booker. And Ja Morant... He tweeted himself saying, I think his tweet was damn. His numbers, to be honest, he's a great player and he definitely will be a future All-Star. Obviously, the Rookie of the Year last year, only in his second year this year. He's averaging 19, 3 and 8 dimes. Those numbers probably just need to come up a touch and he'll be there.
Yeah.
Okay, so... we're talking about the Jazz.
Let's talk about some of the games that have just happened.
On an unreal run. So the Clippers did break their 9-game winning streak, but since then they've bounced back with wins against Charlotte and they smoked the Lakers today. We keep speaking about this run that the Jazz are going on since January 7. They started off the season about 500. Since then, they're 22-2. So pretty phenomenal. And if a lot of people are saying, they've just had favourable matchups and this and that, and Ravi Ashwin's just got Ollie Pope there. So England's they're 6 for 66. This game is actually going to be over tonight, you'd think. 2-day test match.
That's fucked.
Isn't it? Sorry. A lot of people were saying, the Lakers and Clippers will be way better than the Jazz. It will be interesting come playoff time. Obviously, it's still early days to see what happens there. But, the Jazz are going out and smoking teams like the Lakers, obviously, without AD. They're they're definitely going to be in that top 3 in the West already and on an unbelievable run.
Yeah, they're going to be playing playoffs, definitely.
Oh, without a doubt. And, yeah, I think lock them as a top 3 side in the
We've
West.
been talking about
deep
their team ball and the way they've been playing.
Yeah, that's right. They probably don't, like, their biggest names are probably Gobert and Spider Mitchell. But, guys like Joe Ingles and Jeremy Clarkson and the rest contribute. And, it's really nice to see a team, with no real one superstar playing some really good ball. Speaking of streaks, Cavaliers. I had an eye on it last week. I didn't think it was worthy of a mention. They broke a 10-game losing streak today against the Rockets. They've fallen to 14th in the East. They're 12-21. We're talking about putting a line through the Pistons. We're talking about putting a line through the Timberwolves last week.
Scratch him.
I think we can scratch the Cavs. It's pretty hard to come back from that. Talking about another scratch, we said the Wizards put a line through them last week. Since then...
Well, Macca, we should probably get stuck into Mackie. He was like, the Wizards are doing nothing. He was talking about removing them from the league. They're that bad.
Relegating them to right.
So obviously Bill and Russell Westbrook have heard Macca and gone, fuck this bloke. And they've now won 5 straight.
It's working. It's working.
They did lose today but against the Clippers, so reasonable opposition. But 5 straight and not just any 5 teams in that. They beat the Celtics, they beat the Nuggets, they beat the Lakers in that run. Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, that's 2 of the premier guards in the league.
It seems they've probably hit a bit of their form and a bit of chemistry of late, which has led to this run because they did start off very, very slowly,
horribly,
and you can see Bill was frustrated,
carrying them like big time sore.
Russell really wasn't providing, the output they wanted, but he's now back up averaging triple doubles. So he's been killing. I think he now owns the triple double record for the Wizards.
We mentioned that last week, how he was on track, and
I think also James Harden now owns the triple double record for the Nets.
It's crazy,
considering he's only just been there.
Macca, if you're listening, you'll be rolling.
He loves his triple double stat.
It's a bloody fake stat. Winning's more important. Blah blah blah. But I suppose they've shown that they can be a reasonable side. What's their record there, Jim? Have you got the Wizards record?
Wizards, yeah, so they're 11-18.
11-18. That's
5 straight where they were.
Yeah, you can work with that.
Yeah,
you can
from
work
6 to 18 to, actually no, they would have been 6 and 17, and they've just won 5 straight.
Yeah,
they've got 11-17, and then they just lost the game today.
Yeah, we did just say put a line through the Cavs at 12-21, which is similar, but at least the Wizards have got those big name guys.
Yeah, they've got those 2 guys.
Yeah, it's I think the dramas with them, the dramas with them is their front court. So let's keep an eye on the Wizards and see how they go. Could they possibly scrape into the playoffs? Time will tell.
Timberwolves,
fired their head coach this week, Ryan Saunders. He wasn't there long. I think he became the head coach last year in about May. 33 years old. Only 2 years older than us, coaching in the NBA side. That's pretty incredible. There was a little bit of a inside gig there from Daddy Flip Saunders. He was head coach in 2014, appointed Ryan as an assistant. He's very young. I'm sure he'll he'll
pick up a job somewhere.
Exactly. He'll have a bright future somewhere.
Timberwolves very much struggling, and I think another one of the ones Macca wanted booted from the league. But
who's he going to bring into the league?
I have no idea.
The Canberra Cannons, mate.
But of course, the Timberwolves have been struggling. They haven't had Towns for quite a while. He's back. I think
he has been back. Yeah.
I think they've won a couple of games of late since they fired their head coach. So.
They've definitely won one.
Yeah.
Can we
firing your head coach is good for 1 win, so we know that.
They're on a 6-game losing streak at the moment.
So they're
don't ignore me then. I thought they won one right after.
What are they?
When was the last time they won?
19?
7-26.
7-26.
They're shit.
Where do these games come from? So they're 7-26. So they've played 33 games. That's about
it. Last they won was against the Raptors, 116-112.
Yeah, was that on like Monday?
No.
Or was it last week?
No, it was ages ago.
Ages ago? Okay. Don't
Yeah,
ignore me
before
then.
that, they've beaten out Thunder, the Cavs, Pelicans.
Oh, beat Pelicans.
So no one good. They haven't been anyone good
No.
this year. Yeah, they'll come last in the West, I think.
Yep. Let's go to another team that we bagged that they weren't working chemistry-wise. Have now gone on a 7-game winning streak.
We should just keep bagging teams that we go for because they always come good.
Yeah. So let's keep getting stuck in the Dragons.
They're going to suck. They're going to come hard.
Get them on the spoon. But interesting for the Nets, I thought most of these games they've won has been without KD. So Harden and Irving have taken a bit more of a role in this and leading the team around. So wonder what's going to be like when KD comes back in as a key formal part for this.
I still think they will be the best team in the East. Obviously, the 76ers, Celtics might have something to say about that. But yeah, you talk about the big threes in basketball, and you saw it with LeBron when he went to Miami. It's only 5 guys on the court. At any one time, if you've got 3 of the premier guys in the league, I think you're going to do well. Locker room, toxicity and whatever aside, I think if the talent's there, they're going to play well. So they're currently sitting second there, Jim, aren't they?
Yep.
Behind the 76ers. Are they a game behind? Or?
Sorry. So
They beat the Sixers.
no,
recently,
they're 1 game. Half a game behind.
Half a game behind the 76ers. Yep. So that's wide open there. And then the Bucks are third.
A third, 2 games behind.
I said Celtics before. Freudian slip obviously meant the Milwaukee Bucks. The Celtics have been pretty ordinary.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Brooklyn's a shout in the East. It's probably a 2-horse race between them and Philadelphia, maybe Milwaukee. Outside of that, I don't see like the Pacers or Hawks going that deep. No. The last point I wanted to make is, I don't know if you guys saw these. The league, like everything, is getting soft. JJ Redick had a foul called against him that he didn't quite agree with, and he literally underarmed the ball back. It was quick-ish.
Quick. How many bounces?
It was rolling by the time I got to the ref.
Okay.
It was like he maybe went in the air for 4 or 5 meters, couple bounces, and then rolled to the ref.
Did the ref take a dive?
No. I don't know. Like,
did he stop it with his foot?
It it literally at worst might have grazed his foot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Ejected. he got ejected, and he couldn't believe it. He's just going.
He didn't push him or anything.
No, I was rolling it back. Maybe it was aggressive, but it's not like he's picked it up and thrown it at his head or done a Jackie Moon and said, "Fuck you! I hope your family dies." To the ref. Shout out to Will Ferrell if you're listening. That was ridiculous. The Greek Freak got called for taunting Karl Anthony Towns after a dunk, and the taunt was dead set. This would be horrible listening, but hopefully the viewers can see it. This was the taunt.
Well, just looked at him.
Just looked at it. He made eye contact.
Yeah, a big,
bit of a
stare down.
A stare.
It was like, I got you, fam, in this one.
That was it. A stare, and it was a foul. It was like what is going on? We're talking about some sports, trying to protect players, and protecting players' health is one thing. Rolling a ball or staring at a person is not protecting.
That's not a taunt.
Protecting anyone. So yeah, that was the last little thing I had to say about the NBA this week. We'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, the All-Star game coming up is March 7.
Yep. So
we should have an episode before that, and then starting to get into the juicy end of the season there.
Yep. So back on LeBron James, the only season he wasn't in the All-Stars team, I think, was his rookie season.
Jeez, that is nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And thinking about injuries as well, like just having that.
Oh, he's been super consistent.
Yeah, like never
looks after himself, of course.
Yeah, he's probably the best athlete on the planet.
Well, now he's definitely the most recognisable. Like he's the Michael Jordan of this era.
But
everyone knows about who he is.
And you want to compare against Ronaldo's and and
Messi.
Messi's in, but I'm talking about athleticism in pure
talent.
Not even talent. I'm just talking about
for what he can do at his metrics.
Exactly. For being able to jump, run, fit, strength, etc., etc.
36 years old.
Yeah, one of the best athletes on the planet. I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate for that in the comments. But
he's got another 4 years in.
Probably the way.
Where's Coley on the list?
Different games. Where's Ravi Ashwin?
All right, is that wrap up our NBA chat for the week?
That wraps up the NBA.
Yeah. So before we get into this big run through of extra sports, we just wanted to cover before we finish up. I think we should probably cover that Ravi Ashwin just took his 400th wicket. England are now 68-7, I believe.
And look at that metric there. He's played 77 tests. So Harbhajan's on 417. He had 103 tests to get there.
Yeah.
Ravi Ashwin got the best average there at 25 out of any Indian. I'm not ruling it out, but he could catch Anil Kumble there on top of the list, but he definitely overtakes a few blokes in front of him there. So congrats there to Ravi Ashwin. What's England's lead there now? 40-odd?
40-odd, yeah. It's got a little bit of a problem, though. He's got Patel bowling next to him who's already got 4 for, and he's got 10 in this innings. So.
He's also played 2 tests.
True. I mean, as in, like, hey, there's a young and up-and-comer. We'll see how that, I'm not saying now, I'm not saying this year, but you always like to bring in new blood, get the old timers out, maybe in a year or two, so maybe cuts his run short.
I think you're getting ahead of yourself there, Sean. Time will tell. Time will tell indeed.
But the amount these two are both turning the ball here, no one else has bowled besides these two, and
Washington Sundar hasn't touched the ball this week.
No. And it's complete. It's utterly turning at the moment. They're both hunting down. They each want a 5 for, so they're just fighting over it at this point.
So Patel's 4 for 32. Ashwin's 3 for 48 at the moment.
Yeah,
and that's it.
That's it.
Boomer and Sharma haven't touched it.
Yeah, and every other ball is either turning a mile, bouncing up, or it's hitting pads. Every second ball could be a wicket at this point. It's
craziness.
It's crazy. What a great pitch for a day two. Let's run through some other news and other sports.
I was thinking of calling it the final round, like a UFC type.
On Esky, final round.
Quick, cover a lot of sports, but try to keep everyone up to date.
Yes.
Sean, take it away with the supercars, please.
Yeah, well, the first one, supercars, starts this week. The first race is at Bathurst, the Bathurst 500, which I think is 2 races of 250 kilometres. So that's on, I think both races are on Saturday, actually. So that'll happen. That kicks it off. Supercars, of course, back on 7, the home of supercars and all that bullshit, which is interesting because they bought that instead of rugby. So that will start, and the season will go on, I think, for 6 months. Like, it's a pretty long season for them. But interesting to see that, hey, the supercars is going back at Bathurst. Bathurst 1000s, I think, is towards the end of the year. But I just wanted to mention it. That's supercars. Golf. What's been happening in the golf, Peppy?
So Max Homa won the Genesis Invitational, formerly known as the Los Angeles Open. I think that's his 4th tour win, but definitely the most prestigious and probably the most bank that he's made out of a tournament win. He missed a really close putt on the 18th that could have sealed it.
Yep.
It was like
got it in the playoff.
Yeah, under 5 foot. Then he goes against Tony Finau in a playoff, wins that by a stroke. Poor Tony Finau, he just is an absolute bridesmaid. His last tour win and only tour win, I think, was Puerto Rico 2016. So going back 5 years. Since then, 8 runner-ups, including three losses in the playoffs, 21 times in the top 5 and 37 times in the top 10. Just a classic classic case of so close but so far. It's very consistent golf out of him. You love seeing it. Just can't get that elusive second win. And then a bit of a sadder story / crazy story.
Yeah,
really.
we probably should have covered this a bit more
Real
detail, but we're in the back end of now. But
And there's still a lot to come.
Yeah, a lot of news still to happen, but yes. So take it away. The story, Tiger Woods was involved in a high-speed crash. I think it was very much his own fault. I don't think anyone was involved in it. He's just lost control of his vehicle. It's rolled a few times. The front end of the car's crushed in. He's been trapped in the car. They had to use the jaws of life to get him out. He's gone through surgery. It sounds like he's had compound fractures of nearly every major bone in his legs.
Tib and fib for sure. Ankle shattered.
Shin as well. So they've basically had to rebuild his legs.
That is a tib and fib.
Oh, shut up. So they've basically had to rebuild his legs at this point. Put him back together. The news from today was he's awake, recovery in hospital, doing all right, of course, but he's just had major surgeries on both his legs. There's talk about his career and whether that's it for him. Of course, he's, I think, the oldest guy to win a Masters at 44 or 45.
No.
Because I think Nichols was the only one that did it in his 40s as well, but he was younger than Woods at that time.
Okay.
Because it is pretty hard to win multiple rounds of golf when you get a bit older.
I know Jack Nicklaus won them pretty old. Monkey will chase that one up for
I think his last Masters was 44 and Woods was 45.
Definitely
from memory, but
one of the greatest comebacks in sporting history.
Yes, agree. It's not to say that, hey, it's golf. He's probably got another 20 years in the sport, but whether, leg wise,
it's pretty devastating injury.
He needs to be able to walk again. Let's start with that. He needs, his legs need to heal, need to come together. He needs to walk again before he even starts thinking about swinging clubs. So wish Tiger all the best. There's some talk about why he was speeding. I think he was filming something at the time.
He was hosting an event for the PGA.
And I think there was some filming involved with that. He left there in a hurry. The first responders didn't do any drug or alcohol tests because he was coherent when they arrived. There was no thought that of either of those two things. Just seems like it's an accident. Very unfortunate kind of time of the year, considering it's been only 2 years since Kobe in his accident. Was it 2 years or a year?
Last year,
Last year, man.
That's the anniversary was a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So, rough. Did you see speaking of Kobe, I shouldn't segue from Tiger to Kobe, but some chat about getting Kobe as the NBA logo changing out. I can't remember who the current player is they have as the silhouette and changing it to Kobe's silhouette.
It's Jordan, isn't it?
No, it's not Jordan, I don't think. Or is it? Maybe it is Jordan.
I'm pretty sure it's Jordan.
It could be Jordan. Yeah, you could be right. But yeah, just to reflect that, Kobe and Kobe's involvement, immortalize him forever as the part of the NBA logo.
It looks like it changes pretty often.
Jerry West.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't think it was the Jordan logo. You're probably thinking it is because it's the one where he's bouncing the ball. So, yeah.
Chase that up for us, Jim.
Yeah. So that's the one that Kobe is the one they're kind of saying, they're like, hey, why don't we change it to this? Okay. Make that the silhouette instead of the Jerry West, which is, I'm assuming it's been Jerry West for a very long time considering how old he is.
It is the silhouette of the guy dribbling.
Because I think there's also a bit of, Jerry West, of course, being a white fella, backing its, the supports for African American players make them to the logo of the NBA. And like that middle one there, James, you've got of the, what's that silhouette?
It's like pretty much the same shit.
Yeah, it is, but it's current. You're making it current of where it is and what, again, another Lakers player, another guy, looks like he wore 44, but 24. I think that's a fair shout. Why not?
Also, it's a fucking logo. So
True. You know what the old whites are like, though.
Yeah.
So Tiger was 43 and 3 months and 15 days when he won his last time he won. Yep. And Nicholas was 46, 2 months and 24 days.
Okay. So Nicholas was the older one.
Yeah.
But I think Tiger's...
And that's just to win the Masters.
Yes, that's a Master. So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Cool. Some other sports, UFC, we'll run through this. The main fight from the weekend was Derek Lewis versus Curtis Blades. Blades was a heavy favourite in this, being number 2 and Lewis being 6, I think, in the rankings. Lewis lands an absolute bomb uppercut, flattens Blades, a few super necessary punches afterwards. Herb Dean pulls him off, job's done, he wins. For the bookies, I think it was the biggest upset for them since Brisbane beat Luke Rockhold for the middleweight title.
When was that? 6 years ago.
No, not that long. 3 or 4.
I don't even think it would be that.
Yeah, it wasn't super long ago, but it was a big loss for the bookies. I think the worst one was probably Ronda and Holly Holm.
Yeah,
but that, of course, was before Brisbane and Rockhold.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and Ronda was probably $1.10, and Holly was $5-6 in that.
Yeah.
You got to keep an eye out for the POM, 27-year-old Tom Aspinall. Defeated Andrei Arlovsky, obviously former heavyweight champ, via rear naked choke. Arlovsky is 42, so 15 years difference.
Getting a bit on it. He did a bit of a run in the last couple of years, but I think he's lost a few since then. Susceptible to a bit of a knockout now. He's been hit in the face a fair bit.
Yep.
So,
What's going on with Valentina Shevchenko?
Officially been booked for a fight with Jessica Andrade for UFC 261. So we know who 259, that's coming up. Not this weekend, but next. And I think we'll cover this next week.
Yeah, I think we'll leave that for next week.
Yeah, and Jessica Andrade, think this is... No, she's come down in weight. So I think this is her first fight for the title in this, because she had the title, took it from Rose, but then lost it to... Actually, no, she's come up in weight. She lost it to Zan, I think, who's now the Chinese lady who's now the champion. So she's actually come up in weight to fight Valentino, I think, from memory. But it's good. Bullet's got a fight. This is actually a pretty good fight for the both of them. I think Bullet, for me, I think she's the best female fighter. She pushed Nunes in their one fight. They should probably have another fight. If that fight goes 5 rounds, Shevchenko wins. Let's put it that way. So I'd very much like to see them have a fight.
Let's keep rolling, considering we're 3 hours 10 and it is very late here, especially for guys that have got to get to work tomorrow. Champions League, there was 4 legs during the week. Sorry, that's just replay of Ravi Ashwin there, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, replay.
Plum.
Got off. Joffrey.
That's
his 400th.
The away teams won all the legs, which was interesting. So Bayern
that's big.
Beat Lazio 4-1 in Rome. Can't imagine Lazio come back from that when they have the return leg in Germany. This one's very interesting. Chelsea getting an away win at Atletico Madrid, 1-0. So when that goes back to Stamford Bridge, that'll be a really interesting one. Obviously, Chelsea with the away goal and the win, be hard for Atletico to do it, but they're very good on paper, so that'll be one to watch. Man City put 2 on Borussia Mönchengladbach at Puskas Arena in Germany. You'd say they're through. And Real getting the 1-0 win against Atalanta. Not a bad effort from, really a minnow club there against the most successful Champions League side of all time. So take home message, I guess, out of those games. You'd think Bayern, City, Real all through, barring some kind of disaster, and Chelsea Atletico, that leg at Stamford Bridge will be one to watch.
Definitely. So Australian Open, I guess the finals happened over the weekend in between our podcasts. It's a bummer we have to cover this pretty quickly. Ahsoka wins, hers beats Jennifer Brady, gets her name wrong in the presser.
Did she really?
No, well,
really?
Not wrong. She turns to Jennifer.
What did she call it, Tom?
No. She turns to Jennifer and asks her, what do you prefer to be called, Jennifer or Jenny? And she goes, Jenny. And she turns around and goes, Jennifer was a great competition.
Okay, so...
But I think it's just a brain fade. It was just funny.
Like she didn't know who she was.
No, it was just funny.
Okay.
But completely dominant.
Yep.
Yeah, straight
Yep.
sets win.
Yeah. Straight sets against Serena as well in the semi, wasn't it?
Yeah. Clearly working towards that number one. So Ash Barty, look out. In the men's side of it, Djokovic, of course, wins his, does straight sets again, absolutely blows TM off the park. Actually, not TM. Medvedev.
it was.
What am I doing? Medvedev.
We
Not
watched
saying
him
it-
play TM Friday night.
Yeah. Medvedev wins. Medvedev loses in this. Straight sets to Djokovic. Djokovic now one behind Nadal, I think.
Can you have a look at that?
Is it 20? Did he hit 20? Or is he one? He's on 19. He's one of the two. And he's chasing them quickly. Not our most favourite tennis player at the moment with the whole feud and all the stuff. Good to see him win.
Anti-vax vegan. Yeah, you lost me at anti.
Yeah. Interesting that he played most of the tournament with a tear in his stomach.
Yeah, he had mentioned that and then saying that it was bothering him. So no question about his tennis ability. Will obviously go down as one of the all-time greats. I just wanted to touch back on Naomi Osaka.
Yeah.
23 years of age.
So young.
She's got 4 majors now.
Yep.
So 2 Australian Opens, 2 US Opens. And a cool 20 million in prize money if you don't mind.
What's Serena at? Is she 24?
So I think Margaret Court is 24 and Serena's 23, and she had the opportunity to equal her here.
That's right.
She's 39 years old, Serena, still, an elite tennis player, 2 kids out. You can tell she's
She's so
hungry for that record. So I'm sure.
But I'm saying Osaka, 23. She's got 4.
Yeah, well,
She's on track.
definitely.
She plays another 16 years like Serena, and she picks up 1 a year. Then she's at 20 at that point.
Yeah,
so.
it's very close indeed. And quite a likable tennis player, I think. Quite humble in defeat. Humble in victory and gracious in defeat.
Yeah. Yes.
So Federer and Nadal are both on 20. Djokovic is on 18.
There you go.
So you'd think Djokovic probably goes past both those blokes.
He should catch them and go past them. But would you ever consider him the GOAT?
Oh, that's a question for another
day.
podcast. I'll tell you what, right now, from what I'm hearing, I don't know if I'd enjoy sitting down and have a beer with him. I'll put it that way.
No.
Possibly not.
Last point, thank you for anyone who's still going through us on the long version of the broadcast. It's not official yet, is it? But
1 horse race is what it's at the moment.
okay.
Yeah.
2032 Olympics looks like it's coming to Brisbane. It'll be the 3rd time the Olympics are in Australia. Obviously, we have memories as kids. Sydney 2000.
Exactly. It's 32 years after the last Olympics here in Australia.
Oh, don't say that. That makes me feel so old.
Well, the other bit is by the time this comes around, we'll be in our 40s. My other point is...
42,
Yes.
43.
yes. And hopefully by then, on the Esky is a global phenomenon.
Yeah, either that or we're all cruising around in our dinghies because the polar ice caps are melted, and Greta's saying,
True.
"I told you so, you bastards, you bastards! I warned you, and you didn't listen." And on that note, that'll wrap us up. For
I think
this
that'll
week,
wrap us up.
Yeah.
Patel's just taken his 5th. He's got a fifer. So England
11 in the match, England in all sorts.
Yeah,
Test-
8 for 8, lead of 47.
2-game test match. Thanks for that pitch. The curators, the biggest stadium in the world, and they've come up with an absolute landfield.
You do realise they've got to play here next week too.
Hopefully they drop in. Start preparing a slab of concrete and drop that in for next week because that deck is fucking garbage.
Yeah, it is terrible.
Next week,
yes, we'll cover what happened in this. I don't want to say it's going to be an Indian victory because
it should.
it should be, but you never know. England might just go straight through them at this rate.
Would love to see that.
Yeah.
But
Night session.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. England poised to wrap this up. Obviously, Australia and New Zealand to play a few more games. We'll have some Sheffield Shield results.
Yep.
The NRL will be a week out. We should get stuck into a big preview of that.
Yep.
UFC 259 will be a week away. We'll have a preview of that. And try and keep on top of all the other sports news around the globe for the educated sports fans who listen to our podcast.
Yep.
Down Lewis.
What are you showing us, the monkey?
A little glimpse into the future.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Very good.
We'll talk about the wrap up of the second innings next week.
And everything else then.
Yeah, and everything else. Thank you all for listening this deep. If you like the videos, of course, subscribe.
And we have Instagram on the Esky.
Yeah.
Instagram. Give that a follow.
On the Esky, everything. So Twitter as well. Just hit us up on socials. We're more than happy for comments. We love getting feedback. We love getting picked up on knowledge of stats that we may have missed.
If we say something that's wrong, comment, call us a bloody dickhead.
Yeah, which is about 90% of it. So, yes.
And thanks to those who have had some nice positive feedback on our YouTube. Nearly 900 subscribers, so that's lovely to see that on YouTube. We'll try and get this Instagram rolling along as well.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you all. Thank you, boys. We'll see you all next week.
Cheers.
Catch you next week.
Catch ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.